super dimensional strategy starting with Batman. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 127. The style of painting changes suddenly, strange and inexplicable. Can't understand. Keisha's breath surged. Unlike before, this time she felt the breath of Scarlet Witch, and it turned out to be a little bit of a real shadow point. So she tried to understand this power of Wanda. However, she exhausted the energy of a fixed star for calculation and cracking, but she was completely unable to analyze it, and she had no clue at all. Although Wanda's power in the video is not particularly strong, this incomprehensible trait once again amazes her to the extreme point. Morgana also did not miss this opportunity. Demon number 1 started with full force and was also completely unable to pass the aura revealed by it. Constantine lit her favorite silk cigarette, coughed a few times, and then whistled. Pretty girl, always strong, so mysterious. Regarding his cancer, he is not as indifferent as he now appears after getting cancer. He felt the fear of death for the first time, which made him realize that he is not afraid of death. He went to a doctor, but no one could cure terminal cancer at all. He even went to a lot of friends and wanted to solve it from the magical aspect, but he still couldn't solve this problem until the emergence of this website 070. He was skeptical before, but now he has no doubts, because Scarlet Witch's breath shocked him. He has seen many powerful demons, not necessarily more than Scarlet Witch at this moment, which shocked him. Or advance on demand. It is worth a try. Maybe you can cure your cancer. When the narration ends, the screen switches. Human beings are fighting against aliens, and there are several familiar figures on the battlefield. They saw the Captain of the United States and even Black Widow and Winter Soldier. However, most of the human warriors are black people, and the weapons and equipment in their hands seem to be extremely advanced, no worse than those of the aliens. The spear can emit energy beams, the clothes can be turned into shields, and there is actually a protective device that can cover the world. Before the video, Iron Man shook his head and said, "This is the country. Hey, these weapons, it seems to be vibranium. No way. Is this Wakanda?" Iron Man's father's vibranium was obtained from Wakanda, but in everyone's cognition, although Wakanda produces vibranium, the output is very small, and it is only a third world country. How is it possible to have this technology? Am I reading this wrong? In video, a strange giant machine suddenly appeared on the battlefield. It looks like a wheel. Its size is extremely large, and it seems to have a special gravity field that can absorb the enemy and make it impossible for the enemy to escape. These wheels are crisscrossing the battlefield, and no one can resist them, and corpses are scattered everywhere they go. Suddenly the Scarlet Witch fell from the sky. The red light that appeared in her hand wrapped around the incomparably huge amounts of machinery, tearing it to pieces directly. Screen switching. Thanos came out, pinched Vision's neck, and shoved the infinite gems from his forehead. His vibranium body is about as brittle as an eggshell under Thanos. This picture just flashed by, and then another battlefield appeared in the picture, and the sky was dark. It was in ruins, and looked alien. There are also many acquaintances of the audience on the battlefield. They have seen Captain coming, Iron Man, and even Thor. Not quite like this. This man is fat, and the most striking of the battlefield is Thanos, the overlord of the universe who wants to destroy half of the life in the universe, has appeared again. And this time it was Scarlet Witch who stood in his way. Scarlet Witch's hands, body, and even eyes showed a strange red light. Then countless red lights wrapped around Thanos' body, stripped off his armor, ripped apart his body, made him miserable, and screamed incessantly. The crowd was shocked. They've seen Iron Man and Doctor Strange team up before, and so many more together, and they've only shed a drop of blood on Thanos. Thanos' physical strength is by no means inferior to Thor, who can resist neutron stars. It will only be stronger, but Scarlet Witch single-handedly could almost kill Thanos. The narration continues. Vision's death has left Scarlet Witch with grief and an explosion of power. She ripped apart Thanos almost alone, but it's not a good thing for her at all, because the more grief she is, the more her true strength will be stimulated. The Screen switches again. Point in a high-tech looking place. A girl with girl glasses is sitting on a chair, eating potato chips, and watching TV. Point it was a very old black and white TV. Point. And on TV Wanda and Vision are acting. Point at this moment. The scene was dead silent again. Point this turning point is beyond everyone's psychological expectations. What is this called? Previously, Wanda was still fighting the overlord of the universe. Now, she ran to act on TV. Magneto couldn't help but scratched his head and looked at Wanda. Did you go to be a movie star later? The more he looked at Wanda now, the more cordial he was. He thinks that may be the same person in a parallel universe as his daughter in this world. Point rounding up. This is still my own daughter. He remembered Sube's suggestion to make mutant a star. Did the Avengers follow this path too? Wanda is even more frowning and can kill flies. Well, in the future I will fall in love with a robot. I have known it for a long time. Point. And then I'll shoot TV with him. Or this kind of sitcom that I loved watching as a kid. Or black and white. What kind of future is this? All the audience were confused, so they turned their attention to the Sorcerer Supreme Ancient One, who has the most say in magic. Point. Ancient One magician coughed lightly. I don't know. I said I couldn't understand origin magic power either. Iron Man murmured. Did Wanda use origin magic power to become a star? He couldn't help but start scratching his head. Point. This is really incomprehensible. Incomprehensible from another angle. Point. Video continues in the picture. Inside the black and white TV. Point. Wanda and Vision appear to be an ordinary couple who are treating their bosses to dinner. The boss's wife asked, "Where are you from? Why are you here? How long have you been married?" The two of Wanda were at a loss, as if they didn't even know what the answer to this question was, and the boss suddenly became irritable and actually started to beat the table. Point. At this time, the boss was excited and suddenly he caught his throat and fell down. He was choked. Point. And the boss's wife smiled and said to her husband, "Stop, stop pretending. Stop, stop." She kept repeating stop. Her tone was getting weirder. Her smile was getting weirder, and there seemed to be infinite fear in her smile. Point. And she stopped speaking, as if not to his husband, but to Wanda. Point. This scene suddenly seemed bizarre to the extreme. Chapter 128. There is no reasonable place. Quicksilver couldn't take it anymore, and he broke the silence. What the hell is going on? This feels so weird, so unreasonable. Point. Not only him, everyone feels this way. They have a lot to ask, but don't know where to start. Batman said, "First of all, we know that your world and our world are pretty much the same age in technology. In this case, this old-fashioned TV should have been obsolete long ago, and there's a pretty young girl watching TV, the kind of girl who wouldn't watch this old-fashioned, black and white sitcom and still use this old-fashioned TV, and no company is going to do this black and white sitcom anymore, and where this girl is, the instruments around are very advanced. I can guess that this should be a high-tech laboratory or something. This girl is blatantly here, watching black and white comedy with such an old TV. There's only one possibility, that this black and white TV and this sitcom, or Wanda and Vision on TV, are important to their lab, as the first detective of mankind. Batman's observation is still so nuanced. Point. This sparked a big brainstorm, with the Flash saying, Wanda used origin magic power to travel back in time with Vision, and go back in time to make a sitcom together. After seeing himself in the video, being able to turn back time, the Flash is particularly sensitive to things related to time, so there is this strange conjecture. Point. Ancient One waved his hand and said, there are some things that are different between our world and your world. If Wanda really traveled back in time to make a sitcom, she'd only carve out a time branch, and this sitcom wouldn't appear in our current timeline. Point. The stars are staring. Everyone is earlier, and I feel that my brain has become a paste. Point. What the hell is going on here? The screen switches again. Point. Wanda is attending a party like a wife's party. Point. Wanda was talking to a woman, and the woman said, I know about you and Vision. You are not ordinary people. I'm not going to hurt anyone, Wanda said. Point. Just then, the radio next to them suddenly heard a voice. Who is Wanda? Wanda doing this to you, Wanda? As soon as this sentence came out, all the audience exploded again. Point. The impact of these words was too great for them. Point. Batman's face was in disbelief. We all thought Wanda and Vision were in a movie, but who knew? It seemed like someone was trying to connect from the outside with them on TV. Yes, everyone has this feeling As if someone is trying to contact Wanda on TV from the outside. What a weird thing this is. Even if Wanda goes to make a movie, what she leaves behind is only an image. How can an image respond to others? Is origin magic power so outrageous? Everyone is a brilliant person, but right now, their brains are all in chaos. At this time, Nick Fury coughed lightly and said, "There was a black woman in the previous party that I seem to know." The crowd was stunned again. Nick Fury held his forehead and said, "That's impossible. Everyone is anxious. They really want to know what happened." "What is impossible? You should say it." Nick Fury said, "That person seems to be a member of Monica Rambeau's Heavenly Sword Bureau. Originally, Nick Fury wanted to hide the existence of the Cheyenne Bureau, but he knows the urgency of this strategy, and it is likely that this will be exposed after a while. So he said it directly. He said, "I once met a group of aliens, the Skrulls, who were hunted by the Kree and came to Earth. Later, Danvers repelled the Kree, so they stayed on Earth, and I set up a Heavenly Sword Bureau with them to monitor threats from the universe." 4. Flowers. He tried to keep it as simple as possible, but Iron Man was instantly furious when he heard it. In other words, you actually have a spaceship in your hand, and a group of aliens. So, the last time the Chitauri invaded, you didn't do anything. The coming captain just shook his head. He was disappointed with Nick Fury again. Nick Fury said aggrievedly, "The Skrulls want to hide themselves for fear of attracting the pursuit of the Kree, and this ship is not a battleship without much combat effectiveness." Black Widow couldn't help shaking his head. He didn't even know about it, and sure enough, Nick Fury would only believe in himself. 0. This is not the time to look into this, she said. As an intelligence master, she also has some clues. Obviously, Wanda is a little unusual in their TV series, so your Cheyenne Bureau is investigating this matter. Also, your members can still be on TV. So, is this TV actually a world that exists in reality? Luthor was also aroused by curiosity. He shook his head and said, "Look, this is a TV series, a real TV series. The switching of this scene. Obviously someone is taking the shot, if there really is such a real world. So, who was filming, and how was it played? How did the shots switch, recorded, and broadcasted? If it is recorded and broadcasted, how can the Cheyenne Bureau contact the people inside? These paintings are so bizarre that they have aroused all the smart people to be competitive, and they want to figure out what is going on first. But whether it is Luthor's 9th level intelligence, a genius cursed by knowledge like Iron Man, the world's #1 detective like Batman with 10 level intelligence, Queen Keisha with a celestial computer, or a smart comet who can know the past and the future, the Sorcerer Supreme, have no clue. Their curiosity about the development of things has surpassed the original strategy. 7. Chapter 129. Wanda is the creator. When Sube makes a video, he usually first introduces some important experiences of the protagonist of the video, in order to introduce their character and ability. However, Wanda's ability is too special, and the interpretation of origin magic power is too wonderful. So Sube did not go straight to the topic, but showed the magic of origin magic power step by step through video. He was looking forward to the reaction of these people when they saw the truth. In the screen. Wanda and Vision from the small TV have returned home. Vision said, "Thank you for your hard work for today's performance." Wanda said, "It's not hard work, everything is for the children." Child. All the audience were dumbfounded. Older viewers in particular, who have learned from other people's raiders that Vision is a vibranium robot. Can you still have children like this? Sure enough, it's not the real world. It's just he just came up with the idea. 073. As a result, the next moment everyone felt that their chins fell to the ground and broke into 3 petals. Wanda stood up, her belly bulging, obviously pregnant. Wanda before the video collapsed. "You said this may be a real scene, then how can I have a child like this? Isn't this more exaggerated than God's mother?" It was previously speculated that this world might be real, and Black Widow was also blinded. Did you just say you had a baby and you got pregnant? It can't be true. It's just TV. But if it's TV, what about Monica who is in it? Nick Fury can't admit the wrong person. Is this origin magic power, saying that if you want a child, you have a child? Batman hung his head directly and shook his head. I feel that my 3 views have collapsed. If this is origin magic power, it is too outrageous. Even if something outrageous happens next, I can probably stay calm. Everyone nodded directly. All this is so absurd. Even if it is really a TV series, the plot of this TV series is absurd enough. But in the next picture, they realized how naive they were. On TV, Wanda and Vision hugged excitedly because of their pregnancy. But the whole picture started to slowly change from black and white to color at this time. Everyone couldn't help covering their faces and wiped them hard. This change really surprised everyone. Even many people have given up thinking, just want to see the end and see what is going on. The screen then switches. Wanda and Vision have hired a pediatrician. The pediatrician checked and said, the child is about 6 months old, the pulse and heartbeat are all normal, and the child is very strong. Vision himself muttered incomprehensibly, but I just got pregnant yesterday. When the audience heard this sentence, the muscles on their faces began to twitch. He wouldn't be surprised even if he just said that the development in the future is weird, and the same is true for Batman. Vision then sent the pediatrician away to see the next door neighbor trimming his own fence. Vision reminded him, but the neighbor still smiled and agreed, but did not stop his hand. Vision felt inexplicable, ignored it, and went back to the room. At this time, Wanda had already shown a fetal movement response. She happily arranged the baby room, but the fake butterfly hanging on the crib suddenly fluttered away. Then various anomalies occurred frequently. The water in the pool suddenly came out, and the light bulb suddenly emitted various flashes. Lying on the sofa, Wanda said, "We can't go on like this. If we go on like this, our neighbors may discover our abnormality." At this time, Vision suddenly said, "Wanda, I feel something is wrong. The last time the Harts came to our house for dinner, I had this feeling. Just now the neighbors were trimming our fence and everything went wrong. Can you tell me what's going on?" When he said this, the screen stuck for a while, and then he went back to just walking down the stairs. It seemed that nothing happened just now, like a cassette. This scene made everyone look even more confused. Then the screen switches. Wanda was still in the same clothes as before, as if at the same moment. But she has already started having children. At this time, the agent of the Cheyenne Bureau that Nick Fury mentioned earlier, Monica Rambeau, was actually helping Wanda deliver her baby. Soon Wanda finished giving birth and then stood up without the slightest discomfort, just like a normal person, not like a pregnant woman who just gave birth, having given birth to a pair of twins. Wanda was very happy and chatted with Monica Rambeau. "I was born with twins too, and I have an older brother named Pietro." Monica Rambeau was silent for a moment and said, "He was created by the Olympians, wasn't he?" And Wanda's face immediately showed a fierce look, full of oppression, and said, "How do you know this name? Who are you?" Monica panicked. The next moment the door slammed. Vision came in, but Monica had disappeared. Seeing this scene, everyone's heart moved, and Batman's eyes lit up. He said, "I can now confirm that their world is real. The two worlds are real and there are various interactions, and Wanda is in control." In Vision, it's not a cassette, it's Wanda. She can even cut the period that just happened. Hearing this, everyone's brain seemed to be hit by another thunderbolt. Can origin magic power also edit what has happened before? Just like cutting a movie, they couldn't believe it, but what Batman said made sense. They have felt that origin magic power is powerful before, but now the outrageous level of origin magic power is beyond everyone's imagination. Can you say, if I want a child, I will have a child? Can you even edit the real events like a movie? At this time Doctor Strange said, "I have an idea. Is there a possibility?" I just said maybe. This world is actually created by Wanda, Sorcerer Supreme's intuition led him to this idea. Everyone did not deny it, but they all felt this way, and there was a name roar in their hearts that wanted to come out. Creator. Is this entirely the authority of the creator? Wanda's origin magic power, is it really so powerful? And Wanda before the video was already very nervous. She said 0.7. No way, what you said is too exaggerated. If It is true, this powerful magic has already made her a little scared. At this time, the screen switches in the video. Wanda and Vision are coaxing their children when their neighbor Agnes walks in and offers to help them with the children. Vision refused, and Agnes turned to Wanda. "Do you want me to do it again, Wanda?" And Vision are both blindfolded. A look of embarrassment and fear appeared on Agnes's face and said, "Do you want me to do it again?" This picture is indescribably weird and terrifying. Wanda finally came to her senses and said no. Agnes is gone. The two breathed a sigh of relief and felt that it was too troublesome to bring children. At this time, the two children suddenly grew up to 5 or 6 years old. This time, the audience seemed to feel the spiritual storm once again, and the whole mind was overturned. Outrageous. Outrageous. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 130. Wanda only wants a home. Incomprehensible. Keisha shook her head vigorously. She finally understood why Ancient One would say why she couldn't understand origin magic power. Even if Keisha had just watched all this happen in front of her eyes, she couldn't understand it. If it is said that creating those children can be like the Phoenix Force, on a microscopic level, manipulating particles directly creates two living people. Although it is very difficult and almost impossible to do, the principle is still understandable. But this was not created directly, it was born, and the two quickly grew to such a point that completely broke the law of growth. The growth of life takes time, and it is also incomprehensible that what has happened can be completely deducted from this timeline directly. What ordinary audiences see is just weird and mysterious. Only people like Keisha and Ancient One can experience firsthand how powerful and terrifying the origin magic power is! 13 Even Keisha couldn't understand it. Morgana even more so. A deep sense of frustration grew in her heart. Origin magic power, more terrifying than any ultimate fear. Others also shook their heads one by one, unable to speak at all. At this time, the narration sounded, in addition to modifying the probability, Scarlet Witch can also alter reality. In other words, with just one thought, she can make reality become what she imagined. The crowd roared again. Although I still can't understand the principle, at least I understand the manifestation. Iron Man said, there is also a reality gem in Infinite Gems. Listening to this name, is it possible to alter reality? The guide is right. If Wanda's power is fully exerted, it is enough to fight against Thanos, and even Thanos with infinite gems. There are some possibilities. He didn't say this sentence. He was afraid that it would put more pressure on Wanda. Because Wanda's performance in the previous video is indeed a bit strange. It may be that Ancient One magician said, unable to control the performance of the power of origin magic power. Screen switching. Wanda appeared inside the Xianjian bureau, and she wanted to see Vision. But Vision has turned into a corpse and has been petted by humans. Wanda saw with her own eyes that her boyfriend's body was dismantled into broken copper and iron. The United States captain couldn't help but scolded. Nick Fury, who do you think you're bringing? This is your own comrade in arms. He died on the battlefield, and you actually dismantled him. Although everyone in the video is often backstabbed by humans, but now seeing this scene, everyone is still very angry. Because everyone saw that before Vision, he also died during the battle with Thanos. It's everyone's comrade in arms. This is what a beast would do to his comrades in arms. Nick Fury said, if Vision is really dead, I mean if, now, whether he will show up or not, it's unknown. Then his whole body is made of vibranium. How many unimaginable technologies are included in this? At this time, Harley Quinn sneered. This is the alienation of people. You don't treat him as a man at all. Just like those rich people. Just treat people as tools and exchangeable items. Garbage. The strategy Sube gave her was to read Mazhe, which does not exist in this world at all. So she began doing his own research. Social research. Research bottom. Study the root causes of those offenders. Actually really come up with something. Keisha to these words. He said, it makes sense. Keisha. is very much agree with this concept, because she opposed M. Omegan. The most important thing is M. Omegan empty by the death of their research, which is regarded as the life items can be exchanged, which is an alienation of life. She cannot stand. Point in this case the screen is again switched. Point Wanda has come to an abandoned town. Point there is a dilapidated house in the town. It was her and Vision agreed place. They are ready to come here to live a long time and even bought a foundation. Point then finally bear grief, emotional collapse of Wanda, who suddenly poured out countless red light points spread in all directions toward the red light. I saw that town. Everything is changing. Point houses, cars, roads, street lights, cell phones, people's clothes, hairstyles, and even the perception of reality and ideology. Everything becomes like a few decades ago. Point the audience first saw the origin magic power official to show the way. Point fright hard to imagine. Narrator sounded again. Wanda met a lot of misfortune. Her parents died early. Their 2 siblings displaced. Tony Stark has been looking for revenge, but this process has been utilized in Hydra and later was Ultron use. When fighting with Ultron, she lost the only family. The screen switches again. Point that is a small TV in the world. Point Wanda heard someone knock on the door, then opened the door. I saw the door appeared Quicksilver mutant universe. Point seeing this, the people once again feel the brain shiver, body numb. Point Doctor Strange shocked and said, does she really communicate a parallel universe, another universe Quicksilver brought over? Batman said, she really can do it. Before I recommend as possible, we can join together to form a new alliance against the enemy, Ancient One. But they gave Port cold water. Wong's performance up to 073 from the previous view. She inadequate control of the origin magic power of, I do not recommend you to do so, may cause unknown unimaginable disaster. Narrator sounded again. Then he lost the vision. The screen switches again. Point Vision is very Thanos. Infinite gems off the screen appeared again. Point narrator said, although there is a power unimaginable, but Wanda wants a home, and family is just nothing. Emotion is the driving force of her power. Negative emotions will bring a strong destructive power. Let her out of control. Positive emotions but let her steady play. So Wanda Raiders first is to protect Quicksilver. Do not let Quicksilver die. Point Quicksilver depressed. I already know the future. I will not die. I'm faster than a bullet. Nothing can hurt me. Wanda laughed. I'll protect you, Quicksilver. I was born earlier than you 12 minutes. You should call my brother that I protect you. Next added, the next raiders is a few enemies on Wanda's, Ultron, Thanos, Witch Agatha, and Human Malice. I went to, but also Human Malice. The audience really numb. Human beings cannot be good. Chapter 131 SHIELD. Chianjian Bureau is not a thing. He continued, Ultron and Thanos are both common enemies of Avengers. Ultron's body is just a program, and the mechanical body is just a shell, which can be replaced. But Wanda can feel Ultron's consciousness, so he can be regarded as a human being, and he can try to destroy him consciously with your super ability. If you work with Avengers, the success rate will increase greatly. This Sube is more perfunctory, because it is unknown whether Ultron will come out. Point moreover, Sube feels that this method has a certain success rate. After all, Wanda can feel Ultron's consciousness, and in theory, it is possible to control it and destroy it with psychic ability. As for Thanos, as long as you don't give Thanos every chance to defeat him, unite with the Avengers, plus the infinite gems you have collected, you can still fight. There is not much to say about this Sube. I have said it several times in other people's guides. Next to him continued, the Witch Agatha is a great enemy. The screen switches again. Point the town that was previously magically transformed by Wanda appeared again. Point in a hut. Wanda has been magically controlled by neighbor Granus. Point she is the Witch Agatha. Point Agatha hugged a rabbit and said, you're not the only one in this world who can do magic. See those spells in these forbidden runes. Only the caster himself can cast magic. Point Wanda asked, what exactly do you want to do? Agatha said, I have practiced magic for more than 300 years and have always been studying the most powerful magic, and on that day, I felt a powerful burst of magical energy here, and then I came over, and guess what I saw? Screen Switching point, another scene where Wanda uses origin magic power to change the reality of everything in the town. Point at the end of the picture, yellow lights emerged from Wanda's body, and those yellow lights merged into the appearance of Vision. Point Vision looked blank, then looked at Wanda. His expression brightened and smiled. Wanda, welcome home. Point the screen cuts back to the hut. Point Agatha begins casting. Shaper shifting isn't difficult with a simple spell and some mind control. While speaking, after the surgery, the rabbit in her hand had turned into a bug, and then the bug flew to Wanda's face. Point then the bug turned into a bird, landed on the table, and turned into the previous rabbit again. Point Agatha looked at Wanda and said, but you can completely modify such a big place, and even let the people here live according to a storyline you weave, and completely control everything about them. You can even bring a dead man back to life, even creating 2 children out of thin air. This is something I can't imagine and can't do. I want to know the mystery of your magic. Agatha casts magic and opens the door of Wanda's memory to observe her past memory. She saw Wanda and Quicksilver hiding under bombs as children. Point she also saw Wanda get a Hydra Machiaver in the end. Vision and Wanda are sitting on the sofa watching TV together and chatting at this moment. Agatha finally understood what Wanda's magic was. The screen switches again. Point Wanda and Agatha have come out of town. Point Wanda's powerful canopy makes this town isolated from the world. Agatha has transformed into a witch. She controls Wanda's 2 children and threatens Wanda. Point then she looked at Wanda, shocked and terrified, and said, "God, this is origin magic power, and you've become Scarlet Witch. You have the power to become a creator, but you use such power to play at home. Such power, give it to me." Point the two then fought. Point Wanda growled, "If you want my magic, take it." Point she allowed Agatha to absorb her magic, and Wanda was almost sucked into a mummified corpse. Point Agatha is complacent and ready to deliver the fatal blow to Wanda. Point, but she found herself unable to use magic. Point Wanda said, "Within the range of this forbidden rune, only the caster can use magic." Point this is exactly what Agatha said before. In the next moment, the dark clouds on the edge of the sky dispersed, and runes appeared. Point, but it was the rune that prohibited magic that Agatha cast just now, and was printed on the sky by Wanda. Point she just glanced at it without any explanation, and she actually learned it. Then the power absorbed by Agatha returned to Wanda's body. Point at this moment, a red crown appeared on her head, and a purple dress appeared on her body. Point she won. Point the narrator continued. Agatha can absorb the magic of others, as a super witch who has lived for more than 300 years, and absorbed the magic of countless witches. Her strength is naturally extremely powerful, key, and even she can absorb the magic power of origin magic power, which is incredible. It is a very difficult enemy to deal with, so, again, stick with the Avengers, and don't give people the chance to be alone, and you can follow the Ancient One magician to learn spells. When you meet Agatha, you can shake people when you can't beat them. Doctor Strange, an Ancient One magician. Agatha could never win. And then there are humans. The screen switched again and came to the Xianjian Bureau headquarters. Below is Vision's body being dismantled by staff. Point when Wanda saw this scene, her heart hurt, as if she was going to die. Hayward, director of the Xianjian Bureau, told Wanda, "This is a super intelligent weapon worth $20 billion, and I will never allow you to bury it in the ground." Wanda broke the glass, walked over to Vision's corpse, and put her hand on Vision's forehead, talking about Zao Heyo, "I no longer feel your presence." Point desperate Wanda just left Xianjian and came to the small town before. At this moment, everyone understood that it was because of the actions of the Xianjian Bureau that Wanda collapsed and lost control, and origin magic power changed the town. This is human malice. Everyone looked at Nick Fury in unison. "You see, what a good thing your people have done." SHIELD is already beyond words. Xianjian Bureau is even worse. Or, the world would be better off without SHIELD and Xianjian Bureau. The narration sounded again. Wanda collapsed because of the actions of the Xianjian Bureau, and used origin magic power to affect a small town. And, if it continues, whether this effect will spread to the whole world, no one knows. Humans will always pay for their actions. Don't talk nonsense. Talk about the last article of the strategy. Chapter 132. Wanda is a kind girl. What Wanda wants most is a home, and this is not Sube's word of mouth point. Whether in the movies or in the comics, Wanda is like that point every time I get out of control. It is because of a family accident, so as long as her home is still there, it's hard for Wanda to get out of control. Sube also advised Wanda to learn spells with the Ancient One magician and Doctor Strange. Wanda in the movie casts spells only by ability, and learning spells can at least help her control her magic power, and it's better to follow them to learn white magic than to learn black magic like Dark God Book, right? Besides, Ancient One and Doctor Strange will both be the superheroes in the magic world. Even if they don't understand origin magic power, they can give Wanda some correct pointers. But the crisis brought about by human beings is the most troublesome point. The narrator continued. Wanda is a kind girl. In order to prevent Hydra's terrorist attack, she accidentally caused casualties. At that time, humans yelled at her, thinking she was the murderer. Iron Man even put her under house arrest temporarily, but she didn't resist at first. The Heavenly Sword Bureau demolished her lover, and she just felt uncomfortable in her heart, and did not take action against them, even when the Sword Bureau reassembled 073 Vision's body into another new weapon, and wanted to kill her. She didn't kill her either. Screen switching point appeared inside the Xianjian Bureau. Vision's broken corpse has been reassembled by humans, and turned into a white Vision. Then the screen switches again. Wanda, who was fighting with Agatha, saw the appearance of the white mirage, and rushed over with joy. But the white Vision held her face and almost smashed her head out on the spot. The two pictures flashed by, and the narrator continued, but she is also a sensitive and vulnerable girl. Although she will not take action against those who hurt her, it is easy to cause inner collapse. So, Wanda's third strategy is, I hope Avengers can give her the same warmth as home. When she is in trouble, when she is questioned, when she is scolded, when she is hurt by others, it's time to protect her. Protect her like a family member. She has the most powerful force in the world, but she is also a girl who needs the protection of her family. Wanda's power ends here. When Superman saw that Vision was transformed into a white Vision and shot Wanda, he was already out of anger, because it reminded him of Luthor transforming General Zod's corpse into Doomsday. While his relationship with General Zod is definitely not as good as Vision and Wanda are, the way humans do it is remarkably similar. He said angrily, Why do you always do this kind of thing? The United States captain was equally indignant. Fury, what are USHIELD doing? Are you really protecting the Earth? Batman said, I think you are just the villains on Earth, right? Nick Fury lays down again. But it is not appropriate to say that the gun is lying down. After all, the Xianjian Bureau was founded by him, and he is also under his jurisdiction. Hayward can serve as the director of the Xianjian Bureau, which means that he was already dead at that time. In fact, the authority he gave to the Xianjian Bureau has not been high, because although he has saved the Skrulls, it is impossible to completely believe in the Skrulls. He hopes that the Xianjian Bureau will interfere as little as possible in the affairs of the Earth. The last time the Chitauri attacked, he did not mobilize the power of the Heavenly Sword Bureau, and he also had such considerations. The activities of the Xianjian Bureau on the ground have always been very secretive and rare, but it seems that after their death, their activities have become bolder. It's really hard to say if there are Skrulls in this, but in the face of the anger of the crowd, he still said, after I go back, I will sort out the Xianjian game. As long as I'm here, this kind of thing will definitely not happen. He didn't want the Avengers and the Alliance to collide, and what Hayward was doing looked awful to him. That's probably where the denunciation of Nick Fury ends at this time. The website's question came up. Zijing Town is shrouded in Wanda's origin magic power, where Dad and two children exist. After defeating Agatha and regaining her sanity, did Wanda disarm the origin magic power and restore the town to normal, or did she maintain the origin magic power for the sake of her family's existence? When the website asked questions for the first time, it was actually accompanied by a picture. In the picture, Wanda ripped open the sky of the town, and those under his control began to walk outside. But at this time, the bodies of his children in Vision were disintegrating. Iron Man angrily slammed his fist on the table, with innocent town residents on one side and his own relatives on the other, asking Wanda to make her choice. What a cruel thing this is. Wanda, who was in front of the video, looked at this picture with a look of bewilderment. At this point Quicksilver said, I know what kind of person my sister is, and I help her choose. She'll help get those townspeople out and disarm the origin magic power. The website said, if you answer correctly, you will be rewarded with the Quicksilver skill Soul Soothing, which can soothe other people's inner pain through spiritual connection. Quicksilver's eyes lit up. This skill may not be useful to others, but it is too useful to himself. He and Wanda have had a kind of telepathy since childhood. With this skill, if Wanda encounters something painful, he can help her bear the pain and soothe her inner pain. Black Widow looked at Wanda and said, you should know, now that you see the future as something that will happen, but now that we've seen it, it won't happen again. You are a kind girl far beyond my imagination. Everyone agreed with Black Widow's words. She didn't think about killing Wanda like the Cheyenne Bureau hurt Wanda. She lost control of her magic, which made the town become like that. Between the town residents and her relatives, she still chose to let them go. Black Widow even felt that, if he changed himself, he might not choose it. Like Wanda, what she wants most is a home. Everyone nodded. Wanda's strategy gave them the biggest shock. Except for the unimaginable origin magic power, this girl had a kind heart. And then there are 3 more advanced video on demand. Angel Yan said, I'm willing to pay a little price to advance on demand. I would too. Constantine said. The handsome black guy, Officer James Ed Watts, said, I also want to see. I'm just an ordinary police officer. I'm curious, why would ordinary people like me become this audience? And also yes, why am I called Mr. J? I'm so curious, Angel Yan said. Then you go first. Constantine took a puff of cigarette and made a please gesture, so Officer James clicked on his own strategy video, and his business card appeared on it. On the business card, he is wearing a cool suit, cool sunglasses, and holding a gun that is full of technology at first glance. Name: James Edwards. Codename: Mr. J. Introduction: the exclusive agent of the Man in Black is responsible for handling all the affairs of aliens living on Earth. Chapter 133 The Men in Black, the alien with a strange painting style. Seeing this introduction, everyone's spirits were lifted. This Sergeant James, or rather, Sir, their world, they actually manage the life of aliens on Earth. This shows that aliens and human beings have been able to live together peacefully on a large scale on Earth. Viewers who have watched so many strategies before are a little skeptical. Is this possible? The narration sounded, this time straight to the subject. There are about 1,500 aliens living on Earth. Most of them are interstellar refugees who came to Earth to avoid war, and most of the aliens live in Manhattan, New York. There is an organization of MIB. They manage the life of these aliens on Earth. They all wear suits and sunglasses, so they are also called Men in Black. A high-tech building appeared in the picture. There are humans in shirts and ties, and aliens of all kinds. Some aliens about 1 arm tall with slender palms. Some aliens are like soft-shelled crabs with many tentacles erected on their heads, and each tentacle has eyes. Some aliens are like huge amounts of bugs, looking vicious and bad-tempered, but still lining up obediently. Obviously such a strange picture seems unusually harmonious. This scene saw all the audience sigh with emotion. Batman said, I finally see a world where aliens and humans can get along normally. Iron Man also said, I also finally see some aliens who are not here to take over or destroy the world. They even look like they are here on vacation. Spider-Man was even more excited. You know what? Most of the aliens I met in various worlds before are like humans, or they are exactly the same as humans. The species of the universe seems very monotonous. These aliens are the aliens in my imagination. This world makes the audience feel a little excited. Finally, there are no aliens to destroy the world, and finally there is no need to fight and kill. It should be fun to manage the lives of aliens in such a world. The narration continued. There are all kinds of aliens living on the Earth, and they have different shapes and different ecology. In the picture, there are several aliens like long insects, talking drunk, drinking coffee and smoking, looking very funny. Then the screen switched, and a ball appeared. It is as if the crystal ball sold on the street will have a house or various buildings in it. A man looked at the ball curiously and then put his fingers in it. Then everyone was shocked to discover that a group of aliens actually lived in crystal ball. After the man's finger was put in, it seemed as if a jade pillar fell in the alien world, causing a tsunami immediately. I'm sorry. People took their fingers back. The screen switches again. A cupboard appeared, which was then pulled open. And in this small cupboard, there is actually a city, and a group of little aliens live in the city. In their street, there was a watch, and they were praying to it. These kinds of aliens, the style of painting is so peculiar that everyone is stunned, not terrified, but interesting. Officer James was also stunned. How could my world look like this? After the shock, is the expectation I will deal with these aliens in the future, or would it be interesting? The narration continues. James Edwards, originally an ordinary police officer. Screen switching. I saw James running with all his strength, shouting, "Stop now, New York police." Many people can't help but smile knowingly. It's my big beautiful country and my big New York. 4 flowers. Unexpectedly, the suspect jumped off the flyover. James was taken aback. Here are at least 7 or 8 me. He looked from side to side, and he clenched his teeth, or jumped off, and landed on an open top bus, still laughing at himself. Sometimes it rains black people in New York. Then, he jumped off the bus, sent another van, and finally threw the fast-paced suspect against the wall. He took out his badge and yelled, "Seeing no NYPD, that means I'll take you to the police station." The suspect yelled, "He's coming." James said, "Whoever he is, I will arrest him as he comes." At this moment, the suspect suddenly pulled out a gun, a strange gun that looked like a toy. James knocked off the gun, and the gun fell to the ground, caught fire, and disappeared. Then the suspect managed to escape his capture, and then climbed up the roof like a gecko in an instant. James was dumbfounded. He ran to the roof again desperately, and finally blocked the suspect there again. The suspect, who pointed the gun at him, said, "What's going on?" The suspect said, "He's coming. He's on his way. He came here because I failed, and he came to kill me." "You offended a lot of people today," James said. The man's eyes blinked strangely, and there were eye patches on his eyes like reptile eyes. He said, "You won't understand. Your world will be destroyed." While talking, he retreated towards the rooftop, and then jumped off the rooftop, and committed suicide. The narration sounded, however, there are also some aliens who came to Earth with ulterior secrets to stop them. It is also the work of the people in black. Something is delayed. It's even later in the afternoon. Sorry. 7 Chapter 134 Men in Black, the crosstalk duo. See here, James couldn't help scratching his head. It's strange. I have some impressions of this prisoner, but why can't I remember what happened next? Today. Yes, it seems to have just happened today. Why can't I remember it? Everyone couldn't help but be stunned. At this time, Batman suddenly said, "I remember that the previous system rewarded Wolverine with a memory eraser. Is there such a thing in your world? Erasing these memories of aliens is to prevent ordinary people from knowing." James' face changed slightly. He said, "It may be true. I have lived here for decades, and I don't know that there are aliens. I swear, if I knew someone had erased my memory, I would beat him to death." Screen switching. James is under investigation. After all, Deadman is always a big deal. 077 A man in a black suit came in, said it was the FBI, and said he was going to be questioned. Before the video. As soon as James saw the man in black, he was instantly furious. "It's this man. Damn it. He just gave me a business card to apply for something. I forgot everything, and actually forgot that I saw him. He must have done it, and he must have erased my memory. This B asterisk 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 D. I must beat him up. This person is Agent K of the Men in Black organization. Mr. K." He said that James encountered an alien. He wanted James to find out what weapons the aliens were using. James was suspicious and took him to a second-hand store. James said, "I know this is Jack's shop and he will sell some dirt, but he will never sell guns." I went in and asked him a few questions while you watched. As soon as he entered, he saw a pile of Rolex watches in front of the shopkeeper, who said, "Late, Officer James." Oh, I thought these things had already been handed over to the authorities. James walked over and said, well, Ralex is good. So do you have any other swag here? The shop owner received. Then I don't sell drugs. I mean guns. James said. The shop owner was startled. Brother, I only have these. How dare I touch the gun? At this time, Mr. K came in and said, show him the imported goods. The shop owner was terrified. K, what are you doing here? But he still insisted. I haven't sold imported goods for a long time. 3 seconds. Mr. K pointed a gun to his head. A strange silver gun. James said cooperatively. Seeing you, he is very unstable and crazy. You can see that his hands are shaking. He can really shoot. If you know something, just say it. The owner said he should go get a massage and relax. At this moment, Mr. K raised his hand and shot the shopkeeper's head. Everyone was startled. This kind of law enforcement, even if the shop owner may be an alien, is too much. In the video, James pointed the gun directly at Mr. K. Raise your hand and put down your weapon. Mr. K said, I warned him. James yelled, put down your arms. Mr. K said indifferently, you also warned him. Just then a strange voice sounded. What a rude fellow. The shopkeeper, who lost his head, actually stood up again, and then a head grew out of the fracture. He said angrily, do you know how painful it is to get a shot? Everyone was stunned. How does this alien style of painting become more bizarre than the other? So does James. He stared blankly as the shopkeeper pressed a switch, and then the surrounding walls flipped over, revealing a strangely shaped gun. James blankly pointed to one of the guns and said, this is what he uses. Mr. K looked at the shopkeeper sternly and said, you sold the reflective carbonized energy conversion gun to the SAPO people who don't have a gun license. The owner said aggrievedly, he looks like a good man. Mr. K was furious. Who is he trying to assassinate? The shopkeeper was frightened and said, I don't know. Mr. K put a gun to his head and shouted, speak. The owner was about to cry, I really don't know. Finally, Mr. K put away the gun and said, all the guns are confiscated. You sit on a ship and leave the earth, or I will kill you. Then Mr. K walked out of the shop. James also said, I'll come back to you to ask you about Ralex. Everyone burst out laughing when they saw this. Superman asked, are you two talking about crosstalk? I've seen so many deep things before, and it's really fun to see this. The Flash said, how funny. Scarlet, which said, it's supposed to be scary, but seeing them both makes me want to laugh. James rolled his eyes. Is that funny? In the video, the two walked out of the shop. Mr. K said, do you have a lot of questions? But I can't help you. I can only guarantee you will forget about it tomorrow. After he finished, he put on his sunglasses. James said blankly, how can this kind of thing be forgotten? Mr. K took out what looked like a pen and pointed at James. Have you seen this? After speaking, a red light flashed. The next moment the two appeared in a restaurant. Mr. K told a joke, hahaha, and James looked at him dumbfoundedly. Do we know each other? Mr. K took out a business card and said, so, I still advise young people not to drink too much tequila, and they can't remember what they drank. I'll wait for you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Before the video, James said angrily, I just said, it's him who erased my memory. I have to go tomorrow morning. I have to beat him first. The narration sounded in this way. James 0.7 Muse accepted the recruitment of the Man in Black and became a Man in Black. From now on, the black suit will be his last outfit, and he can only wear special clothes made by the organization forever. Go to the designated place to eat, to the designated place to live, and no longer have any identity marks, and can't leave any impression on the people you meet. To ordinary people, he doesn't exist. He wasn't even born in this world. He doesn't even have a name, only the code name J. In the picture, James, no, Mr. J, put on a black suit, put on sunglasses, and burned his fingerprints. He continued, from today onwards, Mr. J's task is to manage the life of aliens on Earth, catch those vicious interstellar criminals, and this time, they're facing one of the most murderous criminals in the universe. Chapter 135, The Joyful Work of the Men in Black. Sube will make a guide video of Men in Black. The first is that the world of Men in Black is very interesting. Second, the power videos that he had cut before were a little too heavy and he wanted to lighten up the atmosphere. So he cut a lot of happy clips. The narrator continued, the vicious alien criminals have to be caught, but the people in black still have to do their daily work on the screen. Mr. K and Mr. J have stopped a car. Mr. K said, please show the license and registration certificate. I mean another. The man understood immediately and was taken out of the car by Mr. K. He said anxiously, but my wife is about to give birth. In the back of the car there was a woman who was about to give birth with a big belly and screaming in pain. Mr. K pointed to Mr. J and said, it's not a big problem, just leave it to him, James. No, Mr. J pointed at his nose and said dumbly, Mr. K ignored him at all and took people aside to talk. Mr. J had no choice but to walk over and said to the woman, okay, now deep raw sucks. 13 Well, deep raw sucks. The next moment, several tentacles suddenly got out of the car, rolled Mr. J into the air, and powered up and down. He was tentacled like a toy and screamed in terror. If this scene were placed elsewhere, it would be a horror movie, but here, how to see it? How funny. Mr. K watched this scene calmly and continued to talk with the owner. Before the video. Mr. J was extremely embarrassed. Damn this old man. He is just targeting me. I've never learned how to deliver a baby, let alone an alien delivery. Wonder Woman widened her eyes, suppressed her laughter, and said, are you really not a crosstalk duo? Spider-Man said with a look of longing. It turns out that the Man in Black's job also includes delivering babies to aliens, which is really interesting. On the screen. Mr. J was thrown to the ground by tentacles, but already held a baby in his hands. It's just that this baby looks like an octopus, with blue skin and several tentacles on its head, and behind it. It is said that this strange creature like Thal, who is very scary, but this alien baby, with two big eyes staring at Mr. J, and making a milky sound in his mouth, was unexpectedly cute. So cute that even Loki wanted to hug him. Mr. J also laughed when he looked at the alien baby. Then the alien baby spat at him with amniotic fluid and sprayed him all over. Black Widow said, this alien baby is so cute, I really want to hug it. Your experience is really novel, and it's a very good job. Ha 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 ha. She's a professional, professionally trained, and generally doesn't laugh unless she can't help it. Not only her, most of the people laughed. Even the unsmiling Queen Keisha and the Ancient One Magician had smiles on their faces. The narration continues. Definitely the main task of catching alien criminals is still to be done. Screen switching. Mr. J and Mr. K have come to a hut, a typical farm hut in the big beautiful country. The hostess welcomed them in, and the hostess said, the police chief came here to do a comprehensive investigation. I really saw a flash of light in the sky, and a flying saucer fell from the sky, but they didn't believe anything I said. They even made fun of me and said, why would I have walked into the room if my husband had already been killed? I admit that his question asked me. I know what my husband is like, so I know that man is definitely not my husband. That thing is like what to wear his skin as. Then a woman's self-deprecating laugh. It seems that even she did not believe the words Mr. K's obviously believe. He asked what he characterized it. The hostess said he drank a lot of water and drink sugar water, a lot of syrup. Mr. K nodded his head, put it on the sunglasses, then pointed to Mr. J's chest. Mr. J looked ignorant, forced to learn. He put on sunglasses. Then Mr. K took out a memory eraser. Facing the woman, took a photo. Click on the stunned woman. Mr. K said, well, no aliens. Flying saucer. That road is not Flash. Is the rising air masses reflected Venus. The formation of natural phenomena. And then they would leave. Then Mr. J could not help but interrupted him and said, wait a minute. You wash her memory and then made up a new Mr. K on the instrument with his hands up and said, yes, this is the memory cleaner Mr. J2KO, you edited the story so bad. Mr. K back to the thought for a moment, feeling as if his story seems to be a little rotten. He added, your husband and his ex-girlfriend is gone. You moved to live for a while with your mother right away. Mr. J could not help shaking his head, and finally his own play. He said to the woman, "Do you think so good? Anyway, he is so bad for you. Well, the fact is, you use him. You're with him. You can buy nice clothes, buy a pair of nice shoes, go make a facial massage, and then you can find someone to redecorate." Before the video. Mr. J to see a look of embarrassment. However, others look very happy. Iron Man said, "A long time never seen such an interesting double talk. You really are a genius." Next screen switching. They went to the morgue. Morgue is responsible for the reception of two former colleagues of Mr. J. Female forensic. But female forensic longer recognize him. The 077 female forensic him aside and pointed to a corpse's ear. Said to him, "You look at his ear. It is a bit strange on the ear, like offline, or what?" Mr. J could not help but go pinch the ear. "I did not expect that the corpse's face suddenly emitted a large amount of steam, then at his face, as if the door is generally open. This whole carcasses are actually falls, and this is head cockpit. In the cockpit there is also a little alien. Little alien said, Mr. Void War, in the Milky Way, Orion star with." At this time, Mr. K came over, took out the memory eliminator. He took on the female doctor in the past. Mr. J wear glasses rush, furious, and said, "I have not wear glasses." Mr. K said, "I did not wear it. Does not matter. Have you ever used this? Photo is not me." "No, you swear." "No." A burst of laughter and pass out. Just before the video. Mr. J, still a look of embarrassment. He feels it on their own people. To do the raiders have a lot of malice. So embarrassing, but also to their future cutout. But others felt the Chinese point. The Milky Way with stars in Orion. What is and what are star of the world, and we do not do the same. Chapter 136. 130th chapters of our universe is only in the hands of others. Marbles. Mr. J introduces the background of the world and introduce the organization and the nature of work. Mr. J is located. The next step is about his enemy. Screen switching. Mr. J and Mr. K standing before a pit. Mr. J instruments grabbed a pile of soil, looking at the test results, said, "Do you know what kind of alien green fluid flow, and you like to drink sugar water?" Mr. J is still forced to look ignorant. "My first day on the job, I know water." He took a hammer fist with his palm and said, "I know that this is the last night of the quiz." Mr. K turned a supercilious, "Zhuang know this today. Just to work newcomers." He immediately made a phone call. He said, Zerg invasion." Mr. J is still forced to look ignorant. "So, we do not like the Zergit." Mr. K was finally stopped. The first time he patiently explained to Mr. J, "Zerg like to go fabrication massacre. Imagine a large number of cockroaches, extremely hard shell, mighty. He has the nature of all lower organisms, temper, irritability, macrophages kill. He was just dressed man of the House of the Lawless Skin in Manhattan. You say what will happen next?" Screen switching. Men in black headquarters, black people's heads. Looking at the chart of Mr. J said, "Orion belt, where only 3 fixed star, Milky Way, but there are dozens of 100 million fixed star. Are you not got it wrong? Just at this time, the alarm sounds, is actually a large number of aliens have chosen to leave the country. A survey, they found Yagilun warships already flew the Earth. That had previously been killed. Zerg little alien who is a Yagilun prince. Prince post events on the ground. Strangely, Yagilun who actually called the Earth surrender the Milky Way. Hand over the Milky Way. At this moment, whether people within a video or looking at videos of people, everyone is forced to look ignorant. How to hand over the galaxy. Is this world the Milky Way as the human lands do? How to look like. Narration sounded, Zerg invasion, kill Prince Yagilun. The war was broke out, so in order to arrest criminals, Zerg Mr. J and Mr. K went to collect their weapons. Screen switching. Still the black people of headquarters. Mr. K open arsenal, took a two-edged rough shape of a gun and said, "This is the atomic number 4, the power of the strong." Mr. J full of joy, said, "Great, I need this." But Mr. K puts atomic number 4 in my hand, like a toy pistol, and handed it to Mr. J. "No, it is mine. This is your little cricket." Mr. J is ignorant of the whole person. His look of dislike K. No, do not do this. You took the number 4 atoms, but I took the little cricket. I feel like I'm one will be able to crush him. Obviously. They do is related to the safety of the entire planet, but not by the people. But laugh out again. Thor laughed. The two men work together too funny. Cricket? Actually have such weapons. Loki the weapon then your knife still funny. Nokia. This is my business. Screen switching. We are inside the restaurant to find someone found Mr. J Zurg. While all viewers are first saw Zurg, but one took him recognized it. His gait is too weird. Mr. J shot hit the go. The people were catapulted. Results this gun is small, but powerful. Leaning backseat. And this lets the audience in convulsions. They actually no one worried about the safety of this world. Then the picture is again switched. There is a cat in the previously little alien corpse on the edge. On the cat's neck hung a bell. The woman looked at the bell pin forensic carefully, but found a gem in the bell pin. The gems inside, as if there is a pattern throughout the galaxy, and magnificent. Narration sounded. Kill Zurg Sabunid princes to grab the super energy, the Milky Way, and this galaxy hanging on the neck of the cat. The cat's name is Orion. Observant. Agent J found the blind spot, and finally the Milky Way, to find and defeat the Zurg alien. Help. People breathe. So it is. You had any brains? On the screen. Mr. K and Mr. J. This time the two men were carrying big guns edged through a battle. Large insects that will boom into pieces then pull away. Perspective. It becomes a thread in perspective and then the whole picture into a whole neighborhood. The whole becomes a pretty big country. Then turned into the whole earth. Rapid whole earth away and then into the galaxy is rendered in the video. Suddenly a tentacle stretched out. As if playing marbles in general, will be caught in the hands of the Milky Way, and then toward the other marbles collision. He then picked up 2 marbles put into a pocket. Each pocket has a marble inside. Are identical marbles at this moment. The previous joy instantly disappear. All the audience down inhaled air. What's happening here? Then the audience once again felt the tingling scalp. The brain has burst again. Feel in general. Their 3 concept once again by a strong impact. Keisha actually stand up straight. Her tough said, this, Zao. What does it mean? Could it be that the entire galaxy of the world are just higher organisms in the hands of marbles? The whole universe, is that a bag marbles? When it comes back, even if her throat dryness could hardly speak. Superman is also a dry voice said, it seems as if this is so. Iron Man widened his eyes and said, unbelievable, unbelievable, that was just the Milky Way on the neck of the cat, which do have a tiny universe, even where there are tiny civilization, they do energy card if this thing, no wonder called super energy, they are concentrated the entire galaxy, or find such a microcosmic universe? The answer is, no one can answer them. Our universe, will, only in the hands of others marbles. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 137 Microscopic World. At this time, Mr. J finally got rid of the shock and said, they just found a microcosm for energy, by no means probably condensing the entire galaxy into a super energy source. If they have such strength, how could their prince be killed by a big bug? Zurg. It sounds scary to say, but it was only shot to death by myself. And if such a Zurg can easily kill the prince of a super civilization that can condense an entire galaxy into energy, it is too much. Mr. J has a very keen observation and a unique way of thinking. People think it makes sense. Then he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. If Achillean just found a unique microcosm to use as energy, it wouldn't be too outrageous. But the high level creatures who can play the universe in which Mr. J and the others live as marbles still feel so terrifying to them. At this time, the narration sounded, the so-called one sand and one world. One leaf and one body. The microscopic world is amazing. How? Do you know that there is no other universe in the microscopic world, and is there life? However, if 087 can't jump out of this universe, if you can't enter the microscopic world, there's no need to be too entangled in these. You can't find them, and they may not be able to find you. So, Bay comforted them, as if he knew they would think so. Microcosm. Hearing this, Nick Fury's expression suddenly changed slightly. Black Widow saw it keenly and asked, "What happened to the microscopic world, Nick?" Fury said, "I don't know if I'm thinking too much, but there was a researcher at SHIELD who came up with a magic particle. It is possible to shrink a person to a limit state, even to a subatomic state. I was wondering, if he narrowed down to that state, did he discover the microscopic world? Have you discovered life in the microscopic world? Even, is it possible to use the energy of the microscopic world?" When everyone heard it, they immediately became excited, so it was not impossible to break the boundary between the macro and micro worlds. Nick Fury shook his head and said, "Don't ask me. I don't know how he did it. I don't have any information about his research. He has been with me for a long time." Damn. Keisha was very interested. These other universes should generally be inferior to them in terms of technology, but they are unique in some places, which sometimes really opened her eyes. Directly shrinking to a subatomic state, to observe the microscopic world, she felt amazing even just thinking about it. Really curious, what would you see if you looked at the world in that state? If you can observe the microscopic world in such an intuitive way, then your understanding of the world will definitely be improved. Next, the narrator continued about Mr. J's strategy. The enemy you will face this time is the Zerg, and the second is the influence of the Zerg. If you can find the Prince of Aquilan in advance and protect him, the Earth will not have such a crisis. You can also find the Zerg in advance and kill him, and the crisis will naturally not exist. To be honest, the raiders can do this. After all, there is nothing wrong with this raiders. That opens the whole story. Enough to fight this crisis. But then anyone who's seen the first half of the guide knows what to do. So Supay decided to prepare the whole live, long time no nonsense, screen switching. I saw not a member of black people, wearing civilian clothes. Mr. J and Mr. K was talking chat. Mr. J said, "Why do not the aliens tell you these things now? People are very smart, able to accept these." Mr. K said, "A man is very clever, but a bunch of people is not the same. We believe that long ago the earth is the center of the universe, when it was said the sun is the center of the universe, that we were burned to death." Narration sounded. Obviously Mr. J is the belief that human beings are smart. Aliens can accept this fact. Mr. K is that human rabble, as long as more than one person will become the foolish, will repeat the mistakes. But, in fact, the key is not here. The key is the level of science and technology. If the technology has reached the level of human and alien, like the point, so how humans will not accept the existence of aliens? If people cannot accept the existence of aliens, that is only one reason, just cannot understand. If the technology quite naturally cannot understand, this problem does not exist. Men in black holds far more than the Earth's strong scientific and technological strength, but only use it to monitor aliens. There is no thought for the technological development of the Earth as a little thing. So, Mr. J, step by step, if black people to join, and then advance to find Prince Yagil and protect him, and kill Zerg, advance to defuse the crisis. If you really want the Earth, you can have against an even greater crisis of ability, a small leak, or can be considered to lead the human development with the black people of science and technology. To know that even Iron Man, he just do not want to own armor to the government only. But he is also open clean energy initiative, the use of cold fusion power, available to the world. He is changing the world with technology. And black people really do not. They really do not have that lead the development of world science and technology. They just use their high-tech, monitor aliens, which to be honest a bit strange. Raiders Mr. J about black people, it is to be here. Black people have a follow-up. He was ready to slowly outpoint. If the days of the raiders too depressed, he used to adjust the black people of raiders of atmosphere, the last raiders. Mr. J recognition does not endorse. Subay felt no defense. Anyway, he finished sight. Mr. J thinking about Subay proposal, feel far away from their own. Anyway, to try to join the Men in Black organization, real life is always a little too dull. Or black people use technology to lead the world's development. That will come later. And the next, there are two people on the video. Did not read. Constantine puff on his cigarette. Facing Angel Yan smiled and said, ladies first, Angel. Yang not rejected. Opening his Raiders video. Pop up above her business card. Point on her business card. Only the king wearing armor and cloak, and wearing a crown. Name. Yan Appellation. Thunder God of War, the King of the Angel. Description, once the sacred left wing, later King of Angel. Angel has a presence in only 2 empty engine. After Keisha died, one man against Mog and Nana, if confrontation rather, whooping, even Carol, propped up the banner of justice order. Kazakhstan today is more a difference. It is the brain into a paste, and write no more. I have never, in a row one day write so many words. My code word slow mind. Today I slowly sleep. See tomorrow can make up old chapters. Chapter 138 Angel Yan's Fall. Seeing this introduction, Loki smiled. Thor, someone seems to be vying for your name. Thor didn't have any strange thoughts. He just looked at Yan and said, so you are Thor from another parallel universe. Unexpectedly, other universes also have Thor. So beautiful and mighty. Originally, he wanted to say mighty. Mighty is his highest praise for warriors, but using mighty to describe a woman doesn't seem right to him. So he changed it to mighty. Everyone looked straight at Thor. Mighty, is that how you describe a woman? No wonder I haven't been in love at the age of 1500, and the only time I've ever been in a relationship on Earth was dumped. Angel Yan took a look at them. 2 little brats. Thor was startled. Sister, Boo Yan, I live to be 1500 years old. Loki smiled grimly. Thor, you seem to be looked down upon. Anyway, 087 Loki, he is not feeling well. If he doesn't fight for nothing. Angel Yan turned his head, did not look at the 2 second-hand goods, and said, I'm 7000 years old. As soon as these words were said, the Thor brothers were immediately speechless. It took Loki a long time to get a word out. Old woman. At this time, the narration sounded, Thunder God of War. Compared to the word thunder, the God of War is the focal point of this title. The word thunder is just an embellishment, meaning the God of War who controls thunder, Han, is the strongest fighting genius among the younger angels. However, she is not a fighting madman who fights for the sake of battle. She fights for justice all her life. Then, the screen switches. It is the Earth again, and the Juksha, which is familiar to the old audience, appears again. Keisha came to Earth, and Angel Yan launched a trial against Morgana. Morgana drove the Demon One close to the giant gorge, taking humans as a hostage. Angel Yan asked Keisha, launching the Heavenly Blade trial will cause nearly 1 million casualties. Queen, do you want to launch the Heavenly Blade trial? This part is all too familiar, but there's more to come. On the giant gorge. To KO, who was so panicked by Angel's arrival, received a phone call from the supreme commander of the military. The other end of the phone said, Ziodu, we don't care what Angel and the devil are, we will always stand with the people. If they are going to be bad for the people, whether or not the war comes tomorrow, whether the end of the day comes tomorrow, let's face it together. Hearing this sentence, most of the audience were shocked. Where on earth is this? Is there such a politician on Earth? You must know that in the Marvel universe, those politicians launched a black bomb directly on New York in order to eliminate the Chitauri, regardless of the lives of millions of people in New York. And these people actually chose to be tough with Angel in order to protect the lives of the people. How can there be such a good politician in this world? Angel Yan monitored this conversation and said to Keisha through dark matter communication, Queen, although they don't believe in Angel, they already understand what justice is and are willing to fight for the people. Keisha nodded and said, yes, it's a good place, but his vision is limited by their vision. Then, leave the choice to them. Next, Jezai Allen rejected Keisha. Angel Yan terminated the trial, and the angels left. At this time, Superman finally couldn't help but ask, Queen Keisha has something that I've always been curious about. In order to destroy demons here, you think it's worth losing even 1 million humans? Then, why didn't you want to kill Rihanna when you were about to be killed? He definitely didn't think humans were damned, just bothered. Because of the future he saw in his strategy, he encountered similar troubles. Morgana sneered, it's just a hypocrite's self-promotion. Keisha ignored her and said, if human beings are harmed, in order to eliminate demons, this is a casualty caused by war, and it is a helpless thing. But if I can't kill the stronger mastermind Carol in order to survive, and slash at the innocent and weak Rihanna with a knife, is this still justice? I see. Superman nodded. He definitely didn't want to cause any human casualties on Earth. But if there is a Doomsday, General Zod appears like this, and his battle with them will definitely cause damage to the human world. But wouldn't that stop them? This will only cause more casualties. He didn't want to put human life on the scales. How much to measure? But sometimes a choice has to be made. Reality is so cruel. The narration sounded. The angels have left the Earth, but they have left behind the power of protection. When Keisha fell, Angel, mankind, all justice and order, dealt a heavy blow. Screen switching point on another planet. Fraser, Angel Yang Heng and Jezai Allen are together. They are searching for the whereabouts of the sword demon Atto. Because they got the news of Atto massacre of people here. Suddenly, the wings on Angel Yan's back disappeared and fell with a thud. Jezai Allen immediately came over to help her up and asked, what's wrong, Angel? Yan said with a shocked expression. Queen Keisha dropped. At this time, the figure of the sword demon Atto appeared, and he said coldly, Queen, let me choose a suitable time to kill you again. It was when your boss died, and that was your weakest moment, although I don't think it is necessary. Caution is also a necessary trait for demons. As soon as he appeared, everyone recognized that this was the demon who appeared in the previous Morgana Raiders and slaughtered a country. Many people clenched their fists. Angel Yan and Atto fought together in an instant, and the battle scene was devastated, and the mountains turned to dust under their blows. The earth was torn apart under their attack, but in the end, Angel Yan, who became weak, lost to the sword demon Atto, and was trampled underfoot. At this time, she has connected with the holy right-wing spiritual heart. Mark Sebastian was originally nailed to the cross by Carl, but she was resurrected at this moment. She heard the voice of Sheng, and said in shock, Yan, what's the matter with you? Yan smiled and said, it's nothing. It will be the curtain call. Atto smirked. Curtain call. He tramples on Yan's body frantically. Yan doesn't care, ignores Atto at all, and says to his heart, we just can't get past this, can't we? Even Queen Keisha is the same. Atto was angry, and the anger of leaving. This woman, under such circumstances, dared to ignore herself. The biggest contempt is silence. R0.7 can't bear this kind of grievance, and madly tramples on Yan. Yan still ignored it, and said to Zin, there is a warrior on Earth. His name is Zin Zhao. If he unlocks his genetic lock, he will have a lifespan of 10,000 years. He is the bravest male god in the universe. He is not like Jezai Allen. He has an indestructible body, but is always at the forefront of the battlefield. He's funny and cute. He deserves the protection of love. You can read his messages. Then Yan's voice disappeared, and she died before she died. All she worried about was the greedy lifelong event. Atto looked at her corpse, no longer the previous Tibetan madness, but actually gave a salute and said, you are the purest warriors. You live for love, fight for love, and die for love. Seeing this scene, everyone is stupid. Angel Yan's strategy. The first paragraph, she died? Chapter 139 Angel's Black Technology. I rewrote this chapter 3 times, delaying T0T, and finally decided to delete those tragic scenes and take them over. The angels in Supergod are also too miserable. If I describe it truthfully, I can't stand it myself. Although the opening lightning strikes or Angel Yan die so tragically, but everyone knew that Angel Yan could not die so easily. If she dies, how can she become the new king of Angel? And how can she support the situation behind Atto? Actually won. It's just unreasonable. Iron Man snorted coldly. He still remembered the tragic picture of Atto massacred a country. After hearing this, Morgana said angrily, you think this is unreasonable? That's because you didn't see this angel slaughtering the Atto core back then. Thousands of Atto core were slaughtered by her 13 empty angel. Yan said lightly, why are you sending troops to your demon army? Do you have no idea Nakaxing will become that ghost? Isn't it your doing? In Addition to the conflict of ideas between Angel and the devil, they have been at war for tens of thousands of years, and they do not know how many people died at the hands of each other. Even if Morgan now sees Nas future, and sees the future, he finally regrets his death before he dies, and he destroys this beautiful world like this. Even if she wanted to give up her previous way of doing things, this kind of hatred could not go away easily. Screen. Switching point on the earth. Suddenly a light shot straight into the sky, as if a sun was rising on the ground. It was the ability of the demons to manipulate Rihanna, causing solar flares on the ground of the earth. At the same time, Keisha's disconnection makes Angel weak. At this moment, countless demons, wrong, and the Sirius army were dispatched, killing a large number of angels and even a large number of humans in an instant. In the city. Humans drove their cars to flee the city frantically, to escape from demons and wrong. But they were horrified to find out. Angels fell like raindrops one by one. On the hood, on the roof, on the sidewalk, on the roof. Angel's body is everywhere. Then there were several extremely cruel scenes. They saw Angel being beheaded, and Angel being cut in half by the middle. Many viewers, others can't bear to watch. Don't overdo it. The good mood brought by watching Mr. J's strategy earlier disappeared suddenly. Angel was really protecting the earth. When the demons invaded. They actually killed so many people. Sensuality like the Flash, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man. Tears welled up in his eyes. Scarlet Witch even trembled. In order to protect other people's world, you sacrifice so many people. Is it worth it? That's Fanxing. The one who just died is Fanxing, our good sister. Angel Yan said lightly. If you ask her if she thinks her death is worth it, she will only tell you that it is not worth dying for justice. When you hear Angel's slogan for the first time, you feel embarrassed, hypocritical, and annoying. Even you will feel that Angel is arrogant, impersonal, and really annoying. But when you see that they both say this and do it in order to protect the world of others at the expense of themselves, that would be a different feeling. Constantine took a heavy puff of cigarette and said, "Sure enough, you angels are different from some of the angels I know." Batman looked at him in surprise. "Do you know Angel?" Constantine said, "I know a few, but not much." Batman paused, then said, "You're actually from our world, aren't you?" Constantine smiled and said in a slightly sarcastic tone, "Yes, Master Wayne." The narration sounded after Keisha's death. In addition to demons, wrong, and the Sirius Legion, Angel will also face other threats. In the next screen. Angels fight on Earth. Angels fight on alien planets. Angels fight in space. They fought in countless places. AI, ruining, Huey, and Sumeri appeared one after another. Countless angels died tragically at their hands. This scene of tragic scenes, seeing many people burst into tears and grief. Even if they don't know these angels, even in the audience, the youngest of the four angels, the holy right-wing Mark Sebastian Hart, could not help shedding tears. Fanxing, Moi, Unai, those Arlinglang and Xian, they add up to less than one. Cheetos. They were just teenagers for Angel at such a young age. Only then did all the 090 people know how much Angel had sacrificed in order to maintain their justice. Does it worth? The narration sounded. There are enemies on all sides, surrounded by powerful enemies. This is what the returning Angel Yan encountered, but she was never afraid. Screen. Switching point. Originally dead Angel Yan opened his eyes and found himself in a dark space. The dark matter space. A voice sounded. "Hello Angel Yan." Yan was still a little confused. "You are," the voice said. "I'm your secondary biological engine on the dark matter plane. Your heart has stopped beating and life has disappeared. I will activate within you, which will destroy and redefine your heart, and you will no longer be an ordinary angel. To that end, I'm going to ask you 3 questions." Seeing this scene, the audience exploded again. This way of resurrection, the sub-biological engine they have been talking about before, or the void engine, is really outrageous. Angel's technology is like a myth. Chapter 140. Article 40th chapter shocked. Angel devil real way of fighting. Seeing this, Batman immediately thought of what they resurrected Superman box with mother in the future point. But it is clear that Angel is not the same technology point. Mother box is accomplished by recombinant Superman broken body of this process. But they are a defining heart. Angel science and technology more mysterious. Batman finally said, you exactly how to do, Angel. Yan said, biological stealth times can redefine things, such as the heart has been broken, defined as the intact heart, but still difficult. Compared origin magic power casual alter reality or a lot worse point it is still very far off. Okay, moreover, many people still cannot understand what is redefined. Screen switching point on Earth is still devastated. The devil everywhere point rose, ice cold, and two soldiers are sitting in a military jeep point next to a soldier. To M.O. Megan asked, Ice sister, you said that you and sister Wendy who is more beautiful. M.O. Megan unhappy, you will not see her. Anyway, then again, do not murder, arson. She is really cute. Point suddenly appeared in front of a burst of light disturbances. They immediately stopped the car. Then and that group will appear in the shadow of a figure. It is the resurrection of Angel Yan. Point gentlemen hearts of the audience surprised. Point Angel Yan has just resurrected. Now extremely weak. This time to face the Demon Queen is not a slash. Angel Yan weak stood up, leaning on her two human soldiers. At least now they know that Angel is not the enemy. M.O. Megan also saw Angel Yan. She contacted the Atto. Atto I see her. Who? Angel Yan. Alto hesitated. She did not really die. Then went ice cold to Rose and said, or to take her to rest. At this moment, her eyes seems to reveal a red light. Then she's Angel Yan appeared in a strange room. The whole world seems to the rest of her. And Angel Kazuhiko 2 people. Point M.O. Megan said, I was ice cold. The Earth. 28 years old professional high level public relations. Her voice was strange tone, echoed in this space. Point Angel Yan looked at her and said, cool ice you think I do not know that you are Godshenkase's sister. Angel ice cold. Now M.O. Megan said, you are now very weak. It is best not to resist. Accept my concept said. Point Angel Yan said, you cannot modify my memory. Point M.O. Megan said, well, you are forced to erase the memory of ice cold. Angel Yan has become confused. Look up on, saying, cool ice. She seems to have been not remember who was ice cold. Point however, at this time, Angel Yan suddenly said, you erase the memory of Yan. The next moment the two men back to reality, both in stature back down. Then they bewildered. Point Rose flavor, how is it? M.O. Megan said, she seems, but she cannot remember Yan just did what? The audience did not understand what happened. Point. But Morgan before the video seemed so extremely now angry, scolding. She said, Kai B actually dare to modify my memory. Angel Yan lightly, no wonder. The last time the raiders, I actually saw me and you jokes that we have forgotten who it is. Everyone immediately understood. They actually wiped each other about their memories of each other. Thor hearts burst aversion to cold. These Angel are devil. Too weird. He said, these had been able to play in the fight. When this is really too sinister. Think about themselves and fight, when suddenly forgot who the enemy is. What is that scene? Professor X is expert in the field of the mind of the Angel Yan said, this should not be your conventional means of combat. You have to modify memory is not so easy. Point Angel Yan said, why do not you can instantly control people's thoughts? You can do some rewriting on the thoughts. A lot of trouble. Do not have access in the battle. She was just taking advantage of my weakness. Succeeded. M.O. Megan Lengheng said, I do not want to take advantage of you not to be identified. The effect. No flash. Then the screen switches again. Point there was a man wearing armor in the picture. It is Liang Star Pan shock. Point Angel Yan. M.O. Megan. Rose 3 also. Point Pan Yan Zen of weakness. Angel said, Angel Yan, if you are driving forces of the Milky Way, I will help you as king. Having to eat Angel Yan immortality. Point Pan Zen said, I do not know help is a friend or foe. Anyway, Angel cannot do without the king. You fall into the hands of M.O. Megan better than a Dio is king. The king is better than the angel. Then he disappeared. Point Keisha looked at this scene. Light, said Pan Zen crossing Liang not even want to think cross into the act right. Carl and his men Rangrong Who are ye? And if they slack day, men will not say point has always been the enemy. They will engage in what can be considered normal, but Liang civilization and civilization Mayan angel is not the enemy. Even barely considered allies after not think he was dead. Liang civilization actually reckon matter between the angel point. Although he is in the treatment of yin, but this, I help thee to be king, which is a few mean. This means that you can specify who is the king of angel, who gave you the audacious. After a while, I went to ask your titan, is not you give him courage. Also, the last time the raiders video, she only saw Yi and Sumali and against angel point, but they did not know what to do for angel point. But on the previous Keisha C point she felt the punishment of the two men is too lenient. Screen. Angel Yan power recovery. Grow wings again. She flew up into the air, her voice sounded across the dark matter in space. Reshape the dark angel grade communication systems. Has been authorized. Shankeisha God. To Earth Angel. Are you where? I, Angel Yan, Shankeisha now God has fallen. I will be the supreme commander of the emergency successor. Angel Nebula Mo Megan also heard this conversation. She forced to look ignorant. Atto asked. Atto, what happens? I. Fragment child yet. Angel Yan what kind of people? Pan. Zen said she would also like to help the king. She was able to restore Angel's communications network, as well as Keisha permissions. Atto faced more ignorant force, and said, that is a sacred sniper in Fraser left wing, or rather she is the new king of the angel, or else we and she did that battle. What is the meaning? No, the queen. You are not pushed by her sleep upon. Hearing this all of a sudden Mo Megan on the bombing, she recalled about everything. This Kai B, the promise, Devil's Claw. Her look, Ironda captured himself, captured a rose, in order to conceal his identity point. Then she resumed armed demon. Devil's Claw again appeared out of nowhere, grabbed Angel Yan point. Yan cannot shake, her voice echoing in the dark matter of space. Biological engine start times. Angel Yan. The body cannot be destroyed. Mo Megan feel their claws tear actually does not move. Angel Yan said. After her recovery, the body too hard. Atto said. One has no use killing God. Useless. Mo Megan desperate to promote the two Devil's Claw to direct the Angel Yan torn in half. Angel Yan's voice sounded again. The power of a few demons. 0. What the hell? Everyone, this is the first real insight into the battle between the top of Angel and Devil. They fight is actually the case. I said I was indestructible. Dog. I was indestructible. I say you force 0 you 0 power. There are not so outrageous. Chapter 141 Angel Yan's enemies. The audience was stunned. Iron Man murmured, is this technology or magic? Even his genius scientist was shocked by this incredible technology. Ancient One magician also said, your behavior is very similar to Origin magic power. Keisha shook her head and said, we are just redefining the concept of things, not like Origin magic power can directly alter reality. For example, the Devil's Claw, I can define it as a flower. It can't exert its power, but I can't turn it into a flower. You can think that we fully understand everything about something, know how it is made, know how it works, that way we can influence it. It's like there is a river, we know all kinds of fluid mechanics, we know everything about the river, we can build dams, reopen the river and other methods, block the flow, or change the direction of the flow, but can't change water as water, and the bigger the flow, the harder it is to change. 090. If you don't know enough about the river, you can't do it. This is easier to understand. Sure enough, they knew the next moment that Angel's ability was not invincible. In the picture, Angel Yan's sub-biological engine sounded an alarm, unable to pass the Demon's Claw. The definition failed. This is what Keisha said about the lack of understanding of water flow, so the direction of the river can't be found. Everyone couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, almost thinking that every angel was a creator level figure. But even so, the battle between Morgana and Angel Yan was eye-opening. On the screen. Angel Yan's redefinition of Demon's Claw failed. But another voice sounded, holy Kasha Armory, authorization complete. The next moment, Yan's body erupted with golden light, finally shaking off the Demon's claws, and then surrounded by silver on all sides. Morgan was shocked and said, damn it. Those are Keisha's silver wings. At this time, the sword demon Atto said, Queen, let me try. Morgana said, Caesar's silver wings are so sharp that they can cut through my body. Atto said. If I'm a little careful. Morgana gritted her teeth and said. Then be careful. The next moment Atto opened the wormhole and rushed out. At this time, Yan took Keisha's silver wings and slammed into Atto directly. A collision knocked Atto to the ground, unable to get up at all. Then Yan took Keisha's silver wings down, pierced Atto's body, and avenged the previous arrow. Everyone looked very cool. In the last raid, Atto 2's evil deeds of a country were really hated by them. But this angered Morgana. Morgana slammed into it directly, knocking Angel Yan out. Then the two disappeared, and there were a few muffled thunder in the sky, and no one knew how many times they collided in the sky. Then Morgana's Devil's Claw, I don't know how far it appeared, directly grabbed a spaceship and threw the spaceship at Angel Yan. A shield appeared in front of Angel Yan and was knocked out directly. At this time, the Devil's Claws caught Angel Yan again. The two flew super fast, and in an instant, they had entered the cosmic starry sky, and they were not far from the sun. Zyobichi, take you into the Sunday Angel. Yan couldn't break free, but she raised the flaming sword in her hand. The absorption of solar energy is completed, and the grand trial is started. The next moment, a strong light hit Morgana. Morgana dodged. Yan took the opportunity to escape and disappeared. Seeing this, everyone frowned again. The Flash said, it takes more than 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to the earth. And how fast are you flying to the sun? When watching the video before, he knew that he could exceed the speed of light, which made him very excited. Although I think it is very dangerous, I also think it is a very remarkable thing. Now Angel and Demon seem to be breaking this speed limit easily. Angel Yan shook his head and said, we can't fly so fast. Morgan should be transporting me through the wormhole to send me to the Sunday. No wonder they can travel in the universe just by their physical bodies. Is this the power of a god-level civilization? Morgana in front of the video smiled and said, little bitchy, you haven't escaped yet. At this time, Hexy finally couldn't bear it anymore and said, Morgana, Yan is just a little angel who is over 7,000 years old. You feel honored to fight with a junior, don't you? Why don't you come and try me? Morgana snorted coldly. Hexy, the king of Cheyenne, has now withdrawn from the front line and rarely participates in battles. But if Morgana and Hexy were to be singled out, she might not be sure. The narration sounded. In addition to facing Morgana, Yan also has to face Ruining. Screen switching. Angel Yan has appeared in a starry sky. She was already wearing the king's armor and crown, and her opponent was Ruining. In Ruining's hand, there is a round wheel that looks like a cross embedded in it, spinning in the air. Angel Yan said, is this the star life of Hexy? Ruining said, there are too many treasures in Keisha's arsenal. This star destiny is nothing, but it is much better than your destiny before the video. Hexy said, I really didn't expect my star life to be taken away by Olin. Looks like I'm really dead. Who the hell killed me? Her tone was very flat, as if she didn't care about her future death at all. She didn't think Ruining and Huayi could kill her. Even if they installed Void Engine. It is impossible for him to make such a big deviation. Could it be that Carl has intervened again? It's like dealing with the queen. This is indeed the case. She played a suppressing game when facing Huayi and Ruining. In the end, Huayi created a black hole to destroy Angel Nebula, and she sacrificed herself in order to annihilate the black hole. Otherwise, the two of them together would not be able to kill her. Chapter 142 Angel Yan's enemies. On the screen. Ruining threw a star life to Angel Yan. Star life kept flickering, jumping between the wormholes that Ruining created in an instant, and it was impossible to know where its attack was landing. Then Angel Yan flew up, holding up the sword of destiny in her hand. Her voice echoed in the dark matter space again. Start the secondary biological engine, create the wormhole defense barrier, analyze the Ruohu data, and start the lightning storm. Behind her is the infinite, the void, the infinite nebula. And now, in this void land, a large amount of lightning suddenly appeared, covering the entire nebula, illuminating the dark universe, turning this starfield into a country of thunder and lightning, endless and mighty. At this moment, the audience finally realized why she was called Thunder God of War. There is power of the thunder and lightning everywhere, making them all feel a little numb outside the screen. What kind of thunderbolt is this? Thor was dumbfounded, as if, it seems, maybe, now, her thunderbolt will be a little stronger than mine. Ancient One praised, what a powerful thunderbolt, facing Hiko's attack point crossing Ming, flew back to Ruining's front point. Those lightnings that are absorbed like life crazily, that endless lightning can't break through the defense of Xingming point. Finally, all the electric light was absorbed, and Xingming flew to Angel Yan again, colliding with the shield on her body point in an instant. Xingming released the absorbed electric light, and the endless thunder burst out, tearing apart the dark universe for a long time. When the lightning disappeared, Xingming returned to Ruining's hands, and Yan had disappeared. Then Yan was now in another place, and said through dark matter communication, Azu, are you there? Ah. Che appeared behind Yan. Yan said, Ruining has become stronger again. She has the star life that Queen Keisha bestowed on Hexy, and she has the meaning of being invincible. Azu was silent for a while, then said, then we, Yan, continued, I used the power of nebula level lightning to attack, but I was absorbed by Xingming. I can only be like a warrior, waving the destiny in my hand, but she can fly freely through the super wormhole ability, and then confront her. It is easy to be attacked by Hua Yi. She said it very vaguely, but everyone understood that she meant that she might not be able to beat Ruining. Azu said, how about I go to meet her again? Yan shook his head and said, you only have a flaming sword in your hand. There is no need to take risks. Chi-Ng. King Hexy told me that Liang Bing's wormhole technology is superior to Ruining, and we can use Liang Bing. Ah. Zhu said, it would be too absurd to cooperate with Liang Bing. Yan said, definitely not a cooperation, but we have to find an opportunity to let them restrain each other before killing them both together. The screen switches again. Appeared again, the Earth Evil Star in the last Morgana Raiders in the picture. Pue is fighting against Ruining, but with the help of Liang Bing's wormhole technology, Kang Wei cracked Ruining's wormhole algorithm and defeated Ruining. Seeing Liang Bing's move, who was and also wanted to help Ruining. At this moment, Angel Yan, who was watching the battle from another planet, appeared on Kunshaxing. She held up the destiny in her hand. Start the trial of the Skyblade. Load the Ruining gene crack program. A golden light falling from the external atmosphere. If Ning want to escape, but was ice cold wormhole algorithm interference. Do not run away. And finally turned into ashes in a golden flames. Devil's Claw to protect the ice and cold Yan. Ye advance perceptible flash people. Otherwise, Yan this time is 3 to kill. At this moment, before the video Megan face embarrassing myself, that was it. The pool Elsa actually benefit me, and if this Ning, really extremely insidious. B. Keisha also sinister. C. Yan wins, though aware that this is only the future. We still relieved for her. After all, Keisha dead. Like a crane he is not in the face of so many enemies. Yan with Angel. Forward really so hard. Angel had died the previous scenes. That picture, so that they now have some uncomfortable. Then narration sounded. Yan is a very powerful warrior, although, as a king, she is not yet mature. The power also is not strong enough. Not as Keisha prestige, but even if the face is stronger than her enemies, she will never back down. Always think of tactics than their own strong enemy get rid of. But it is not quite at the strategic level. 4. Flowers. She's doing all the fighting and Megan, and if Ning battle, and you fight, Angel and the group of men fighting, and even the group of fighting Rangrang. Yes, they are the enemy of Angel, but behind these enemies, there is a figure, that is, Carl, Gluttonous, King Bite Cameroon, the Void Engine from Carl, Void Engine of China, also from Carl. Carl also has a shadow behind Megan. After all, these people are just a pawn. Carol nothing. Yes, now is the magic Carl body, difficult to kill, and Carl kill Keisha. The strength is no trivial matter, but never personally pass through. I do not know exactly how strong it is, very difficult to deal with. 0. But not to him as a target, with his pawn struggle, is not the slightest sense. No. Myself, before being victorious, Carl will analyze the target. He used Morgan caught Nalina sunlight. The secret is to light the sun. He always wanted to dry fixed starter bomb the sun. This can be understood. But he helped G engine fitted vanity, meaning lie. China is not fried bite, alas. Will not listen to his words from both and maybe even back to bite him. Why he wants to help China Hua? What did he want from Yehu? The problem, the 4 angel and a demon to the queen. To ask point mo Megan is very clear to Carl's character. He welded to China, so people do not have the slightest impression. Say the threat of force. Ye cannot threaten Carl. What Carl is of you, even if they have a computer objects, which also cannot be calculated. Point moreover, Carl is a magic space. Keisha cannot even read his message. Do not really know what he wanted to do at this time. Narration sounded again. The universe's most powerful men of God should be the masterpiece of God River civilization, yet has become a mature body strength galaxy, and the power of the galaxy has the power part, but it is from the male angel. China is the most powerful man angel. This sentence, groundbreaking moment. Jane Munnett Megan, Crane he and Keisha are the body shocked. They thought of a possibility. 7 Chapter 143, Speed Force. The audience was silent because they lacked relevant information and did not know how much impact the narration had on the angel demons involved. Finally, the impatient Thor couldn't help but ask, what exactly does that Cole want from Hua Crossing? That guy is not a good thing, Angel. Yan said, I'm thinking Carl doesn't want to transform Huaxing into something similar to the power of the galaxy. The queen said that at the beginning of the design of the power of the galaxy, we angel actually participated in it. The power of the galaxy, part of it comes from the male angel, can be said to be homologous without fear. He said, that is the highest masterpiece of Kamikawa civilization. Even Kamikawa civilization failed to complete the 090. Who are ye? Carl is like this, isn't it too crazy? Creating a god is not easy. It requires countless manpower and material resources, and it also requires countless time. Back then, there would be a war in the Deno galaxy, which can be said to be closely related to the Super Seminary's god building plan. Morgana smiled and said, don't doubt, Cole will only be crazier than you think. Maybe he really wants to do it. Hexy shook his head and said, it seems that over the years, I have become accustomed to understanding everything about the enemy by reading the dark matter information on others, but I have forgotten the basics. Even if you can't read other people's information, you can infer his purpose from his actions. Whatever Carol wants, it must be related to Hua. This is a breakthrough. At this time, the narration continued, or Carl wants to cultivate Hua Hang into an existence similar to the power of the galaxy. Definitely it doesn't matter. Knowing that you know what he wants, you can target him. If you can kill it, then focus on killing Hua Yi with all your energy. If it can't be done, then find a way to provoke the relationship between Hua and Carl. As long as Hua Yi knows Carl's intentions, how can someone like Hua Yi, who is self-reliant, tolerate Carl's other intentions for himself? There is no follow-up to the Super Seminary, so Sube made some guesses when he was doing the strategy. Through this guess, a strategy was made. At this point, Angel Yan's strategy is over. Sube also made a patch for this guide, and his post-review question was, does Cole want to cultivate Hua Hang into something similar to the power of the galaxy? Questions after the raiders are now raised by Sube. He asked this question because he wanted to use the rules of the website to determine whether his conjecture was correct. Angel Yan looked at Keisha and said, I guess it is. The website replied, correct answer and reward Angel Yan Speed Force. Sube hasn't done all of the Justice League walkthroughs, so not everyone knows the Flash has the Speed Force. Hearing this, the Flash is in love. Unexpectedly, the website can actually reward people with Speed Force. For myself, this ability is amazing, but for Angel, it seemed like that because they can jump into space faster than the speed of light. But the Flash thought a little less with the Speed Force. No matter how bad the tragic ending of the Super God world is in the end, Yan has a chance to make a comeback. On the other hand, Mr. J is also guessing, what ability is this Speed Force? Because he answered the question before and failed to get the prize by answering the wrong answer. Now he is a little envious. Then he looked at Constantine, and now it was him, and he was the only one who hadn't watched the strategy video yet. But at this moment, Constantine actually started to cough violently, and the whole person actually fell to the ground coughing. His lung cancer attacked. Batman immediately said to Cyborg, can you find him? Superman said, I'll be quicker. I'll take him to the hospital. Go save people. In this way, this video viewing is over, and then some new people go to make up the previous video, and others start chatting and communicating. Subei, who had been peeking at the screen, also retracted his gaze, watching one less guide, and the video was nothing point this time. He praised his wit point, especially Angel Yan's strategy video. He actually used the question and answer mechanism of the website to confirm Carl's purpose pointy. Felt very witty and accomplished, and this time, there are no rewards for the to advance on demand, and he now gets 3 rewards fixedly. The first reward is that countless people will break their heads to grab it, but Subei now has a lifespan of 1000 years. That doesn't feel like it. Point the second ability is Firebringer, which allows him to control fire, which is also a useless ability. He doesn't need it. Point the third reward is interesting, but it is the design of the ship. Point the kind that can perform void jumping. Subei, who now has a green light ring, can actually try to fly around the universe. Point, but the design of this space shuttle can help the entire human race to enter the dream of the galaxy. Point this 0.7 is much more powerful than any parent design. Point at most, the maternal blueprint allows humans to get a full stream world. Point in this space shuttle design, but allows mankind to get the entire starry sky. Point what else is there to say? Just do it. Indeed. I found that the 6 videos were too long, and I was tired of writing, so I saved one for the next issue, and Mr. J's Q&A. It was too early last night and I forgot to write it, so I will make a patch today. Finally, there are only so many updates today, and I owe 1 more update, and I owe 3 more updates in total. It's really not good. I'll go to bed early today, adjust my state, and start repaying the debt slowly tomorrow. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 144, Alchemy, Chaos Kusha. Subei began to sort out how many rewards he got after uploading the strategy. Point the combined lifespan is 2500 years. High dimensional observers, as long as they can locate other worlds, can observe the corresponding characters in the parallel universes of other worlds. The macro theory of magic is pure theory, and he doesn't care much. Point Phoenix Force is awesome, but now he only uses it to modify some special materials needed for parallel universe crossing devices, which takes a lot of time. Point the teleportation ability allows him to teleport himself to any place in the world he wants to go at will. Point the ability of teleportation can be amplified by Phoenix Force. The two are combined. He can even teleport himself to any planet in the solar system, but he doesn't have the guts to try it. Point the Green Lantern ring has all kinds of powerful abilities. In this world without super ability, it is simply a dragon slaying knife, and there is not much power to use force at all. Point this alone is enough to navigate the stars, but Subei didn't have the guts to try it before. Point on top of that, there's the overdrive regeneration ability, which keeps Subei's resilience below Wolverine. Point the teleportation ability plus Phoenix Force, plus the green light ring. Super speed regeneration ability finally gave him the confidence to go to the universe and starry sky. Point he went to 13 space, the moon, and Mars all made a circle, and it was completely done. The mechanical mind allows Subei to control computers and machines. A chaotic mind can cause both intelligent creatures and machines to fall into chaos. It seems to be the power of some kind of rule, otherwise the chaotic machine can't justify it. The flame messenger, manipulating the flame. How many degrees the strongest can make the flame reach? He has not tried it, and is afraid of accident. Point in addition to these, there are parent design drawings, a space shuttle that can perform a void transition, or a real spaceship design. Point there is also the design of the parallel universe transmission device. Point that's all there is to it. Point there are 2 things he's doing right now. Point the first is the parallel universe teleportation device. Point he used super ability to get money, split the design into various parts, handed it over to the most cutting edge research institutes in this world, and asked them to help with it. He himself provided those special materials that this world could not produce. Point he also used the website to ask questions and asked Kusha to help him calculate an important constant. Point it will take a lot of time To do this well, the second is the design of the matrix. The same is simplified. After the split is outsourced, the speed is much faster because the technology is not so high that the world cannot directly see it. Unlike those technologies in the super god universe, they are simply too high to be boundless for long. This simple matrix can be done. Now he has another blueprint for a spaceship. He used his mechanical mind to check the information on the internet and found that this is too advanced for the human beings in this world. But the difficulty is even lower than the parallel universe teleportation device. As long as he is willing to spend more time, use Phoenix Force to transform the special materials needed, and spend some time, he can still do it. He originally wanted to split it up and outsource it, but suddenly he gave up. Humans don't know anything about the parallel universe teleportation device. Even if they put the entire design in front of them, they don't know what it's doing. But spaceships are different. They may, from the blueprint of the part, figure out what this is, for it may be more troublesome if outsourced. What to do then? Do it yourself. Where is this piece of material yourself? If you can directly recite a spell, you will be able to do these things well. Spell. Thinking of this, Sube remembered that he still got macro magic theory. And he really hadn't read it well. After all, he now has so many super abilities, and a single Phoenix Force fragment is already in the sky, and he is not very interested in asking him to practice any magic. But if magic can really create spaceships in 2 or 3 times, and let human beings quickly enter the space age, isn't this a great merit? Otherwise, if you do a good job of a simplified version of the Matrix, human beings will indulge in the virtual world and play games every day. The two sides go hand in hand, is the future of mankind. Thinking of this, Sube began to carefully study this macroscopic magic theory. The so-called magic actually understands the world and then uses various energies to control the world and change the technology of the world. If an ordinary person has a macroscopic magic theory, it may take hundreds of thousands of years to develop a complete magic system. But Sube found that this thing is not too difficult for him. He can almost see it because he has a Phoenix Force. Using the Phoenix Force to cast magic couldn't be easier. When he turned to the detailed explanation of alchemy, he was suddenly enlightened. Alchemy, with this thing, what kind of astronautics and cosmos, or a parallel universe transmission device? Is it easier than letting those research institutes do it? The design drawings are ready made, and most of the materials are prepared for them by the research institutes, so think about doing it. He used the ability of teleportation to take all these things away, and then began to design the alchemy array. It didn't take much time to create this parallel universe device with alchemy. Sube was so excited to see this thing. This parallel universe cannot teleport living beings, but it can transmit items to the universe in parallel, and even communicate with people in parallel universes through him. That is to say, he can interfere with those parallel universes to a certain extent. As for the extent to which he can interfere, he is going to do a few experiments. Sube used the ability of the high dimensional observer to locate Keisha and Angel Yan of the supernatural universe 090, and they are studying the speed force that Angel Yan just got. Angel Yan himself has turned into a ball of red lightning surrounding the city of Angel, like a ball of lightning. Seeing those little angels, they were stunned. Their wormhole technology can be faster than this, but these are two feelings. The speed force is like a unique energy that creates a special space. Keisha said, "This has refreshed my understanding of space again. It may not be faster than wormhole travel, but the absolute speed is much faster. This will make you take advantage of the battle. It is difficult for me to fully analyze it. I will incorporate it into the treasure house of sacred knowledge and develop it, and it should be possible to develop more usages. In particular, the ability to reverse time, if it can be developed, is a technological revolution no less than the sub-biological engine, or the void engine. Keisha got those two rewards before. One is psychoanalysis and spiritual body research. The other is detailed explanation of time-based Lore point. The appearance of the Speed Force has brought her understanding of the detailed explanation of the time-based laws to a higher level. Point. Reversing time may not be unattainable. Point. However, at this time, she seemed to feel a consciousness that seemed to be peeping at herself. Point. The next moment, it seemed as if countless strange chattering voices suddenly poured into her mind, causing her brain to become extremely chaotic. And even her system began to become chaotic. Chapter 145. Keisha's fear, Megatron's departure. At the first moment, Hexie felt something was wrong with Keisha. Point. She showed her own star life in her hand, and the space-based system frantically extracted fixed star energy, worked with full force, and began to search around for what was wrong, and at the same time shouted, "Enemy attack, angels." Strategic literacy is quite high. Although they didn't find an enemy, they immediately drew their weapons and stood ready. Point. However, at this moment, Hexie also heard a burst of indescribable words in that conversation. She felt an indescribable evil aura, and then she also fell into chaos in the eyes of the other angels. The two of them suddenly stared blankly and behaved strangely, completely unaware of what they were doing. Point. As if demented. It can be Subei's first test. Can he use this parallel universe transmission device to apply his ability to characters in the parallel universe? It turned out to be true. His chaotic mind was teleported through a parallel universe teleportation device, and even Keisha and Hexie could be affected. Point. The ability to confuse the mind. He had tested it in his own world before, but there are ordinary people here, and it is nothing to confuse them. Point. Now, even Keisha and Hexie can influence. This ability is beyond my imagination, but Subei can't control their behavior either. It just throws them into chaos. But Subei is also very satisfied and can finally have a little contact with the parallel universe. One day I will be able to travel to a parallel world to play. Point. Otherwise, it would be very uncomfortable just to watch. Point. He took back his chaotic mind, and he was almost at the limit just now. Point. The next moment, Keisha and the two regained their senses. The eyes of the two were blank. Point. They can't remember what just happened. And regardless of Hex's space-based system, Keisha's sacred record of what just happened is a mess. However, the monitoring of the City of Angel has records. After the two transferred the record, they saw their previous performance. Point. Then an indescribable chill surged out of them. Point. Angel Yan couldn't help but ask, "Queen, what was it just now?" Keisha said lightly, "The alarm is lifted." Point. She was plain on the surface, but a huge wave was set off in her heart. Just now, something really affected me and he. However, they didn't find anything unusual at all. Not at all. This shows that what affected them before was something they couldn't understand at all. Point. You must know that, even if it is the ability of void civilization, they also know something. They developed a secondary biological engine, which is to deal with the ability of void creatures. This also shows that it is not a void creature that has just affected him, but something else. Point. There are also horrors in this universe that we are completely unaware of. Thinking of this, Keisha finally understood why Morgana fell into the ultimate fear back then. Point. Because she is now also afraid of something that she doesn't understand at all. Point. But Keisha quickly got over it. Point. If you don't understand it, try to understand it. Point. At least, that mysterious existence left a mess of garbled characters in the system of himself and Hexie, which means that the strange existence had an impact on the world and left traces not completely elusive. Then, you have the possibility to understand it yourself. Point. Hexie also packed up her mood. She needs to chat with Keisha slowly about this issue and study it slowly. It is best not to let other angels know about it. This will scare them. Point. She changed the subject and said, "By the way, what about Natha and ruining?" Keisha understood what she meant and said lightly, "Since Cole wants it, then wait for him to get it. Even if Huey is equipped with a void engine or something more powerful, such as the black hole engine, that can create a black hole, Keisha doesn't think she can't beat him. Point. If Cole really wants to do something with Huey, it will involve a lot of energy and resources, which is a good thing. Point. After fighting for tens of thousands of years, most of the time, Keisha is a big player, and her strength is crushed, because no one deserves her strategy before. but it does not mean that a strategy is not good. If not, how could it be possible to rise from a weak position and defeat Uazan? Then who are we? Will use chess pieces to fight Carl. Anyway, her recent article psychoanalysis and spiritual body research has also made progress, and Carol's phantom body is no longer so incomprehensible to her. Get in touch to deepen this understanding. Sube retracted his gaze. The power of the parallel universe. Teleportation device and the chaotic mind are beyond his imagination. Then he wanted to do another experiment. He turned his attention to the world of shape-shifting King Kong and found Brothers Uzi. Brothers Uzi is now fighting with Megatron. Two huge amounts of robots fighting hand to hand in the city. The buildings in the city, to them, are like building blocks, and they will shatter when touched. The human army in front of them is even more useless. Brothers Uzi finally flew to Earth and found Megatron. But humans don't trust him, and they accidentally activated Megatron. So the two old friends fought like this. On Earth, Autobots only have bumblebees, but there are far more Decepticons sneaking into Earth. The two of them struggled against the Decepticons. Starscream hit Brothers Uzi's back with one sneak attack and two energy cannonballs. Brothers Uzi ran after him and fell to the ground. He has decided to put the source of fire into his chest and die with the source of fire. He did not follow the advice of the raiders and got the fire to study and leave the Earth. He is going to use the space bridge to save mankind. Too bad he was outnumbered. But at this moment, he was horrified to find that Megatron suddenly stopped attacking. Then he left without looking back with the Decepticon. This scene made Brothers Uzi look stupid. Megatron couldn't let himself go so easily, could he? It is even more impossible to let go of the source of fire. But Megatron was horrified. He didn't want to go. He was controlled by an unimaginable will. This control is even scarier than Quintish's control of shape-shifting Kong. He couldn't resist at all. And the person doing this is naturally Sube. He used the parallel universe teleportation device to transmit the power of his mechanical mind to this world. Unexpectedly, even Megatron can be controlled. Megatron is naturally not a good bird. But for Sube, it was his childhood memory. So Sube didn't want to kill him either. And Sube probably couldn't kill his dog either, because Megatron is desperately resisting. If he gives another order, that is too drastic. Maybe Megatron could break free from his grip. So Sube left a sentence in his mind: leave the Earth. Without further ado, Megatron left with the Decepticons. He wouldn't dare to come back to Earth until he figured out what was controlling him. Chapter 146 Changes in each world. For Optimus Prime, the sudden retreat of the Decepticons was a surprise. But the real difficulty lies behind. He wants to convince human beings that the Earth is facing extinction, and there is a way out, only by leaving the Earth. And this is definitely scorned by humans. Humans are not fools. With the development of technology to such a degree, how come they have not conducted various explorations on this planet? In their detection results, the Earth is a normal planet. With the slow Earth, the crust, and the core. How could it be the brain of some cosmic emperor? You alien robot is so bad that you want to trick us to settle on other planets. How can we possibly believe it? This can be a headache for Optimus Prime. Then Sube set his sights on the world of the Matrix. The world that used to be pitch black now has a little green. AI has not wiped out all living things, nor can they. They also kept the seed bank of human beings. Under Nia's leadership, people began to replant trees and stock animals, and the vitality of the Earth was restored a little bit. And Nia is also looking for how to get along with artificial intelligence correctly. 093 in the direction of artificial intelligence evolution. He was very anxious, because as a human, his lifespan is limited, just a few decades, and if he dies, how will humans rule the AI? Now artificial intelligence still wants to get the direction of evolution from him, and is willing to accept his control. If he dies, the artificial intelligence will rebel again, and once again control human beings, and let them stage another drama of saving the world, in order to find the direction of evolution. After all, he has the authority, and cannot fully control so many artificial intelligences, but these artificial intelligences have their own consciousness. In Nia's view, Artificial intelligence like shape-shifting King Kong is impossible in their world. Because shape-shifting diamonds are essentially mechanical beings and the artificial intelligence of their world is essentially just a program. The way humans and artificial intelligence get along in the supernatural world can be the direction of the future. But the super god world is different because the human beings in that world are strong enough. So there is no artificial intelligence rebellion crisis. They achieved another human machine combination. And this is impossible in this world. This world does not have such powerful genetic technology. Neo had to find his own unique way, and he really hoped that the website would give him another guide. Subei did nothing in the world of the Matrix. Then he looked at the world of the Man in Black. Mr. J held a small cricket with two spears and then repelled the Zerg who wanted to assassinate the Prince of Aquilon. Then he blew a breath at the muzzle of the little cricket and said to Mr. K, "Brother, am I right? The Zerg will come to assassinate the Prince of Aquilon." Mr. K looked at the new recruit he had just recruited in disbelief. Mr. J's performance took him by surprise. Mr. K said, "How did you know his intentions? How did you know that the Prince of Acheron would be on Earth? Who the hell are you?" If he hadn't entered the headquarters of the Man in Black, after inspection, he had already begun to suspect that Mr. J was an alien. Mr. J pointed to his skull and said, "Genius is something that everyone cannot. Let's go snipe the Zerg. As long as the Prince of Aquilon is protected, then killing a Zerg is not a big problem for the Man in Black." Seeing Mr. J's dejected appearance, Subei smiled knowingly and then turned his attention to the DC universe. He saw that Constantine had come to his senses. With the tube inserted all over his body. He actually lit a cigarette involuntarily and was thrown out by the nurse. Superman sat next to him and asked, "So you're actually a magician, Constantine?" Cofton said, "Just a third-rate magician. To receive. Then if I want to learn magic, can you teach me?" Constantine stunned. "Do you still need magic?" In his opinion, Superman's power has far exceeded all magicians' imagination. "I'm trying to learn to protect someone," Superman said. He felt that Raiders was right and that he should have more means to protect his loved ones. If he added a layer of magical protection to his mother and Louise, then he would feel much more at ease. It's a pity that he met a demigod Wonder Woman and a future king of Atlantis, but neither of them knew magic. Constantine thought for a while and said, "For the sake of saving me, let me introduce you to someone." After he finished speaking, he wrote an address. "You can go to see her performance." The inscription that Superman looked at had a circus of so and so written on it. He was depressed at once. "I want to learn magic, not magic," Constantine said. "Who said magicians can't do magic? And she's really messy, and she's a good ex-girlfriend to you too." Constantine's ex-girlfriend is that Zatanna, the most beautiful magician in the DC universe. Introducing such a handsome man as Superman to his ex-girlfriend, Constantine didn't know what to think. Anyway, the scum is enough scum. Subei took a look and saw that there was nothing to experiment with here. Then he turned his attention to Luthor, Batman. There is nothing to say. These two are busy with strange things. Then, when he turned his eyes to Harley Quinn, he found that Harley was taking a bath. As an upright gentleman, the picture has a great impact on him. White and big. No way, Subei. With such a tall ability, how can you use it to do such a thing? Subei hesitation repeatedly used the ability of teleportation to get 3 English editions of Lun. It was then placed next to Harley's bathroom via a parallel universe teleportation device. How to say, Harley likes to rebel. Really learn to rebel against this rotten world. You have to watch Marshing, right? And he was really curious what Harley would be like if he saw this. Then Bay turned his attention to the Marvel universe. Nothing major here lately. That is, Nick Fury is more wary of the Skrulls and is trying to impose further restrictions on them. And Scarlet Witch is learning spells with the Ancient One magician. Iron Man doesn't know something at the beginning of his research. Thor is running around in 9 realms. Others are fighting crime, and Loki mixed with Thanos, hoping to get to the top. He thought that when Thanos started to invade the Earth and crush everything, he stabbed Thanos in the back, saved the world, and was admired by thousands of people. He felt so cool. Subei did nothing, and then he turned his attention to the world of X-Men. And their Magneto, Professor X, was about to announce the founding of the nation. Chapter 147 Mutant Founding Ceremony. For the establishment of mutant, Professor X and Magneto have been preparing for almost 2 years. The time flow of each world is different. Only when Subei observes other worlds, the time flow of that world will converge with Subei's world point. So it's not too long on Subei's side, but it's been 2 years since Professor X first became an audience at this time point. After so long, Professor X finally pulled the number of their mutant country to 157. It was impossible to get others to come voluntarily, and he and Magneto went to visit these people one by one to attract so many people. In order to be well prepared, Professor X also wanted to find Stryker in advance. Because I saw that Stryker from the previous raiders. It is simply dead. Mutant's heart is not dead. But strangely, he didn't find Stryker. He couldn't sense the existence of Stryker even with his brainwave machine. It should be that Stryker blocked Professor X by some unknown method. If they can't find it, they can't do anything for the time being, so they have to strengthen their defenses. After reading Magneto's walkthrough before, the website asked a question. When Mutant's kingdom is established, when will humans attack Mutant's kingdom? The website's answer is at a point. So the mutants of Mutant Nation are ready for battle. With Magneto and Professor X as partners. Human weapons, whether conventional or heavy, are completely useless to the mutant kingdom. And other mutants have a variety of abilities. They are confident that, if humans really attack, they will play the prestige of mutants in this battle. Let humans know that mutant is not easy to bully. On the top of a mountain not far away. Apocalypse is watching the distant realm of mutant. He said, humans have become like this from monkeys. Which is a little bit of progress. Magneto and Professor X did a good job. It must be known that in the era when he lived, traffic and communications were not developed, and it took a long time and countless manpower and material resources for him to gather together the 4 horsemen of Apocalypse. But now, Professor X and Magneto have gathered more than 100 mutants in just 2 years. This speed was something he had never dared to imagine before. Definitely. That's a good thing in his opinion. And behind him, there are 4 mutants. His new Apocalypse 4 horsemen. This time he didn't find Magneto, but he found Mystique. This time he didn't find Angel either, but he found the White Queen. There is no internet in this world. After he was resurrected, he read information from various TV signals of human beings, and then he knew that the beautiful country is the most powerful country in the world. And the president of the big beautiful country is the one with the most powerful power in the world. He wanted to see. So he went to the White House. There he met the White Queen, and he cited the special ability of the White Queen, and incorporated her. You must know that White Queen's telepathy ability is second only to Professor X, and Apocalypse also learned about Magneto and Professor X's nation building plan from the White Queen. What's more important is to know that Professor X actually possesses more powerful psychic power than White Queen. With the brainwave machine, it can control the human beings all over the world in an instant. This makes Apocalypse happy. He already has an immortal body. If he gets Professor X's ability again, then he will be the eternal master of this world, and no one can betray him like last time. At this time, the White Queen said, Master, now the world has changed. Master can completely become the master of the world by controlling the president of the beautiful country. Even if Charles' psychic ability is strong, it is impossible to control human beings all the time. They will always resist. As a mutant next to Professor X, even if she was secretly controlled by Apocalypse, while developing her potential, she still maintained her own sanity. Hearing this, Apocalypse laughed. Humans have changed. Yes, men have become stronger. Before they fought with spears and stones. Now, they fight with planes, artillery, and missiles. But the essence of human beings has never changed. When there is an absolute powerhouse in front of them, they will kneel down willingly and worship. The kingdom of mutant is just a small town. When Professor X and the others watched the video for the second time, Magneto got out of trouble and cooperated with Professor X to get the president of the beautiful country to support them in building the country point. But since it is the founding of the country, it is naturally impossible to enclose the cuteness of the land, and it is natural to announce it to the world. So this time the founding was announced in their conference hall, and reporters from all over the world came. Professor X sat on the summit stage and said, "I announce the establishment of the FOM country from now on. For flowers, FOM, short for Friendhoffman, means friend of human beings. Calling their own country a friend of mankind represents their attitude and willingness to live in peace with mankind." Friends. From reporters, you can ask anything you want to ask. At this time, a reporter in the front row got up and asked, "Mr. Charles, it is said that your country was founded this time with the support of the beautiful country, and it was finally approved by the United Nations. But it is said that you countries are all people with some special abilities." Professor X nodded and said, "Yes." The reporter said, "Don't you think your existence is unfair to ordinary people?" Professor X said, "Do you feel unfair when you see Einstein and Jordan? We just have a little ability that others don't have, zero." The reporter said, "This is different. It is said that you can read other people's thoughts and control their behavior, right?" Professor X nodded, "Yes, but I don't think it's something to worry about. You must know that there are many countries in this world that have black weapons, but they don't throw black weapons around." Another reporter got up and said, "You mean you compare your ability to black weapons?" The current Professor X's answer is much tougher. He said, "Yes, but I can promise the world that as long as there is no attack on the mutant, or someone throws black bullets at us, I will never be the first to use it on humans. My ability." Another reporter stood up pale and said, "So, are you talking about a threat?" Professor X said lightly, "A kingdom needs the ability to protect itself, doesn't it?" His answer was tactful, but also tough. To be honest, this made the reporter a little scared, but fear is nothing. The reporter just wanted to make big news. Another reporter said, "If others attack our country, we can know, but if you control who, we have no way to know. This is not equal at all." Professor X said, "There are more than 7 billion human beings in the world, and we mutants only have a few thousand people, which is not equal." Professor X has already anticipated a lot of today's conversation, and his colleagues are not going to lose their waypoint, and that's when a mutation arose. 7. Chapter 148. Striker struck 148 chapters. A blue silhouette. Unexpected emergence of a group of reporters into point. He has pointy ears, blue skin, red eyes, and even a tail. He threw a hand. Something will disappear quick. Professor X and Magneto did not react. They understand this moment. It really is someone making trouble. But it is not against them, but against those reporters. If these reporters here all die off, imagine the human world would react, but they respond. However, some people can react over because this man too fast, whether it is speed of thought and speed of far. Imagine Superman class. He is naturally Quicksilver. Quicksilver's as if at the moment of the world a million times slow play, only he can act normally. Ling Jiu. 3. He spoke of himself blindfolded, then ran past. The future is slowly split, with a powerful grenade plastic shell to throw out far than those reporters. Horror stricken also or moved out. Will soon disappear. Already in a state of the Blue Devils pulled down. The next moment, bang, bomb outbreak did not cause any casualties. Blue Devil is dropped to the ground, directly knocked unconscious. Reporters were sent. A burst of panic roar. Meanwhile, a light door opened behind him, and Professor X. At the moment, a figure pounced on the Professor X. Professor X would like to control this person, but his soul ability been interfered with. Magneto furious, numerous knife under his control, as if Fiji in general stabbing the man. The man had done pulpy pain. But that did not feel like a man, like, still toward the Professor X. At this time, a figure stand in the dust. Professor X. The attack on this man who grabbed with his forces had enough to crush any human. But this man has not inferior to his strength. His attack stopped. That attack Professor X is Wolverine's brother Sabretooth. Victor stopped precisely Wolverine. Originally Victor is a cold and cruel man, but he is now on the crazy eyes only see the vestiges of reason. He frantically toward Wolverine attack, But he was no tricks. Wolverine found a chance to poke through. This time, another dynasty door opened behind Magneto. A red light in the middle of his back. But now Magneto, but the real Magneto. He himself formed a strong magnetic shield. These channel attack blocking. He was about to fight back, but the Dynasty 2 doors have been closed. Magneto Harvey just looked and said, I remember this woman. She should. He recognized this woman, but do not know her name. In his own Raiders of Professor X, Wolverine and the Raiders have seen this woman. In the face of Sentinel. She can turn on a light and flexible doors. Exposed to the enemy's attack range comrades, but also flexible to shift his teammates. Magneto did not know her name. Flash's Professor X was almost taken away by a wave. Magneto was furious, Charles, to find them. Now Professor X, to wear portable EG machine, to get the bonus sight, but he shook his head and said, people over there, the shield of my ability is likely to be Stryker, remember? In Raider Stryker, but his son brainstem secretions manufacturing control mutant drugs, and his son Jason's mental strength is very strong, and even control me, although I was under the influence of drugs, but he explained to shield my perception is not difficult, it's bloody. His son was only 12 years old. Doctor. CUI Raiders Gdansk. Stryker asked his son how he was. Answer is 10 years old. But over the past 2 years should now only 12 years old. Stryker actually done so on his crazy experiments. However, Professor X has begun to read the thoughts of Sabretooth. Since light door closed, no one can shield the soul of the ability Professor X. Professor X to read his thoughts, to find the location of Stryker. They not far outside town Mutant Kingdom. The next moment, Magneto flew directly toward the other side, but faster as Quicksilver, seeing he was going to burst into the small camp of Stryker. But suddenly he was shaking up numerous electro-optical wrapped around his body. He fell. He even faster, but also lightning fast. Stryker have in-depth study of the mutant, but also information on Dr. CUI Trask. He knows how to deal with the ability. Mutant. He controlled the Blue Devils by Blue Devil throwing grenades, first to attract the attention of Mutant Sabretooth to attack and create opportunities. Second, if it can kill the reporter, the founding of the mutant is a joke. He only did it the first. Almost Professor X will wave away. Moreover, CUI Trask know, if Sabretooth assassination unsuccessful, Professor X sure to find it here. So this means he has lightning generator. Someone coming and will automatically generate electricity. Quicksilver their speed to confident, but did not think this would have laid a trap. CUI also Quicksilver scared to Gdansk. This man's speed too fast. If not their own arranged properly, do not set yourself. This gang had been caught them. He immediately makes fast people put Quicksilver scored tranquilizers. Then toward the side road Magneto still came. Stryker surprised. Think of mutant could be so easily fooled. Magneto left. Who will protect the Professor X? Flashing once again opened the portal. Stryker pushing his son, with his own army shake 0.7 large pendulum walked in front of Professor X. He said, nice to meet you, Charles. You disgusting variant of this monster. Alone. You actually want a founding? No, never. Today, I'm going to you to kill all those disgusting monsters here. Professor X looked at him, had wanted to ask why Stryker is so hate myself. Hate mutant, but he do not want. He said lightly, you know we are here founding. Here we have more than 100 mutant. Why do you dare to arrest me before Patrick is said? The other did not use. As long as you are caught, mutant are dead. Is not it? I just want to make a time difference. You cannot have a few people here. Professor X said, this is, you may be wrong. Chapter 149 Apocalypse. Times have changed. Stryker didn't understand what Professor X meant, and saw Professor X pressing on the wheelchair. His wheelchair actually made a mechanical sound, and the pieces opened in an instant, wrapping him in it, turning him into a suit of battle armor. Yes, can you imagine how the enemy felt when they saw Professor X's chair suddenly turned into a suit of armor? What's even more exaggerated is that Professor X actually flew like this. and Stryker and his subordinates were dumbfounded. This is the armor that Beast built for Professor X. After communicating with Iron Man in near there is a certain combat power. The biggest role is to protect him, and he can control the armor through his spiritual power. Professor X knew very well that if someone really wanted to come to mutants founding ceremony, they would definitely want to kill themselves, so he simply used himself as bait and waited for these people to come. Otherwise, there are more than 100 mutants here. How can there be so many people doing security work? Professor X looked at the dumbfounded Stryker and his subordinates and said, who said that mutants can only rely on their own abilities? Can't the power of technology be applied to mutant? Mutant is no fool. His Warframe 13's firepower is far less than Iron Man. There is no arc reactor, and the battery life is not good. After all, the technology in this world is a lot worse, but it is enough for now. Two shots went straight to Stryker's son Jason. Still using anesthesia bombs, Jason fainted immediately. Stryker and he controlled those mutant moments, and they were completely controlled by Professor X. Then Professor X brought them all down, and knew in Stryker's mind that it was all the president's order. The last time I was slapped in the face by Professor X and Magneto, the president couldn't bear it. After 2 years of careful preparation, Professor X easily coped with this attack on mutants establishment. Even he has a lot of backhands that are useless at all. Stryker has completely misestimated the power of Professor X. When the professor is no longer bullied, when he is willing to fight back, how terrible he is, no one knows. And just then another portal opened. Apocalypse walked out of the door of light with his 4 knights, and he said, "It's really sad. It has the power of gods, but it still needs to rely on human technology. Your ability is a waste on you." As soon as he saw Apocalypse, Professor X was instantly shocked. If you follow the strategy, it will take at least a few years for Apocalypse to appear. Jane Grey was a girl back then, and now she's only 11 or 12. Is this the butterfly effect? Professor X wants to escape. If he is caught by Apocalypse, the world may not be able to bear the consequences, but the next moment, with a wave of Apocalypse's hand, Professor X's battle armor was actually weathered. Professor X fell straight out of the air. Apocalypse's ability is a bit similar to Phoenix Force, which can sand everything. In the movie, he used this ability to turn everything in a city into sand, and finally built up pyramids in the face of Apocalypse. The backhands that Professor X had prepared were useless at all. But fortunately, the Blue Devil, who was stunned by Quicksilver before his hair. Professor X directly controlled the Blue Devil, and the Blue Devil hugged Professor X with a teleport, and then disappeared with another teleport. There are a few more mutants here, but Apocalypse doesn't want to bother. He went after Professor X directly. All he wants is Professor X with Professor X's ability. Although he cannot control everyone's thoughts in real time, he can distinguish who is loyal to himself and who is not loyal to himself. At that time, he will be the only god who will never change for mankind. At this time, other mutants from the FOM country also came here one after another. The explosion here caught their attention. Then they found out that someone was chasing Professor X. Professor X's old friend, Alex the Ravager, was Cyclops' brother who could play Shockwave that month. With a roar, a red light rushed towards Apocalypse from Yukshan's mouth. As soon as Apocalypse stretched out his hand, a shield would block the energy wave. Then the dust on the ground flew up, and the dust was sharper than a knife, directly beheading the Ravager, and his head was broken. Cheyenne Howe said, "To stop them from coming, you can kill them all." Storm's eyes turned pale in an instant, and an endless gust of wind blew her up into the sky. In an instant, the sky was dark and the sky was dark, and thunder bursts. The next moment, countless thunders fell, covering almost the entire small town of Mutant. When Storm's ability is fully exerted, it is really like a god descending into the world. Such terrifying lightning strikes most of the mutants out. There are many people here who are not warriors, just mutants, not good at fighting. Everyone wants to fight. Only X-Men is the power of FOM. So psychokinesis turned into two swords and smashed into these mutants. Professor X was worried about the Queen, and did not dare to control Apocalypse and his 4 horsemen. But White Queen had no such concerns and directly controlled many mutants. Mystique enters the crowd and changes at any time. No one knows whether an acquaintance will suddenly become Mystique Point in this melee. Her combat power is maximized. Just the 4 of them beat the 100 plus mutants to pieces. It's really not to blame for from mutant exclamation point 093. The ability of these people is already very strong, and Apocalypse developed their ability, which makes them stronger from mutants. Most of whom have not been in battle, were beaten to the extreme for a while. Professor X looked at it with a splitting gaze. His backhand is used against elite troops like Stryker or humans, or mutants recruited by humans. It really doesn't work against Apocalypse. Or really just use that trick. The Blue Devil continued to flash holding his body. Suddenly, the ground shook, and the earth suddenly cracked. A huge amount of robots rose up. This is the Sentry design that Professor X got from Dr. Stryker's memory, plus the Sentry design that Magneto got as a reward. Combining these two, Beast created the manipulative Sentinel, based on their current technology. Originally, neither he nor Magneto wanted the other to build this Sentinel. But then they considered, if they really had to face such a terrible enemy as Apocalypse. Except for the Phoenix Force, they really don't have much chance of winning. But if the Phoenix Force is out of control, it will be very scary. So they finally accepted the Raiders' suggestion and created a human-operated Sentinel. In order to make a last-ditch trump card. Chapter 150 Apocalypse. See here. Apocalypse was taken aback, although he read the information of the modern world through the television signal. But this kind of stuff was beyond his comprehension. He even always felt that Laotzu was number 1 in the world, and that Laotzu was God. But he felt a little terrifying, as if he had encountered a natural enemy. Since he couldn't understand it, he only regarded it as a super ability of a certain mutant. So without a word, he will desert this big guy. Identification is his most commonly used trick, which can decompose and recombine material. It's not quite as good as Phoenix Force breaking things down at the elementary particle level, but it's scary enough. Think of how terrifying the scene in the movie where he reduced Cairo to ruins against the enemy. An alert came from within the Sentinel. Erosion of shell structure detected. Shell conversion requested. Agree, Professor. X can also directly control this large Sentinel with his own brainwaves. This is thanks to the brainwave data conversion technology obtained from Neo. And Beast is a genius among geniuses. Think about it. In the world just after World War II, he was able to build something as outrageous as a brainwave machine. Now that Iron Man and Neo communicate with him, and he has 2 complete Sentry designs, it's no surprise that he can make such a powerful Sentinel. Originally, Beast didn't want to make this either, but both Professor X and Magneto have said that this should only be used when it is most dangerous, and after using it, it will definitely be destroyed, not giving it a chance to be taken away by anyone. He just worked hard to create one. At this time, Apocalypse already felt that something was wrong with this thing. Identification was apparently useful at first, but not anymore. After that, Apocalypse wanted to dismantle this Sentinel with his mind ability. But Sentinel created a force field that blocked his psychokinesis control. Interesting. Apocalypse frowned slightly, then actually sent a shockwave to Sentinel. Even Subei, who was peeping at the screen, was surprised. Can Cheyenne House to limit energy shockwave. Can you believe it? But it seems that this is not surprising, because after all, Apocalypse has been the king for many years, and he only knows how many super abilities he has absorbed. So the Sentinel manipulated by Professor X was on par with Apocalypse. Sentinel can calculate the most suitable response method based on Apocalypse's ability, and change the original ability. And Apocalypse seems to have infinite super ability. This made the battle between the 2 of them particularly gorgeous, and everyone was dumbfounded for a while, and even the 4 Knights of Apocalypse who were fighting stopped fighting. At this time, their eyes seemed to regain some clarity, as if they had regained a lot of clarity from Apocalypse's control. In the beginning, Professor X could be on par with Apocalypse, but it wouldn't work. As a result, Sentinel's energy could not keep up, and Beast failed to create Sentinel with infinite energy. This is the limit of the times. Secondly, Apocalypse not only has a protective cover, but also has a super recovery ability, which can quickly recover, even if it is injured. Even more terrifying is that Apocalypse is actually competing with Professor X for control of Sentinel. This is also unknown to Subei. Sube only notes that Apocalypse can read TV signals. Who would have thought that he has the ability to control electronic devices? Definitely, in the movie, there are only TV stations and so on. There is no computer at all, and he has not been given a chance to perform. Professor X is already sweating profusely. He is about to lose the Apocalypse. If you and Sentinel fall into the hands of both Apocalypse, who knows what the consequences will be. And right now there were countless light smells of who in the sky, and countless streamers fell from the sky and slammed into the protective cover of Apocalypse. Magneto is here. This time, he finally stopped throwing metal directly with his ability as he did before. He used the principle of the electromagnetic gun. The unimaginably dense bombardment of the electromagnetic guns on the protective cover of Apocalypse made an earth-shattering roar like a mountain tsunami. Splashing brilliance. Extremely magnificent. Although it was very hard, Apocalypse blocked it, but the shield was on and off at this time. Wolverine roared and rushed towards Apocalypse. The energy blast from the shield alone knocked him to the bone, but he still made his way to the front of Apocalypse. He took out the memory eraser and said to Apocalypse, "Look at this." After speaking, a red light flashed, and Apocalypse stayed there for an instant. Magneto controlled countless electromagnetic cannons to bombard Apocalypse, blasting him into minced meat. If he can be resurrected like this, it can only be said that he is awesome. The drama is finally over. Mutants founding has taken its first steps, albeit a tough one. Sube retracted his gaze. He's about to start cutting videos again and doing walkthroughs. Cage World. Lighthouse. Shangmin District. The female pole devourer, the pole devourer, the unstoppable pole devourer. Zexing, who hummed a little song and returned to his room. As a Shangmin, she has her own independent residence. But living alone is rather boring. Lately she feels like she's enjoying being with Mark more and more. But no. It is impossible for him to stay with Mark, which violates the 3 laws of the lighthouse. But it really seems to be staying with Mark. What should I do? Who would have thought that this deputy commander, who can use armor, shoot sniper rifles, and drive mechas to fight with the terrifying beasts, would be such a little girl in private. Suddenly Zabing found that there was a virtual projection screen in front of him. She was startled and looked around. Who did this? Did someone hack into my room's system? But this is impossible. Then I saw several projection screens around, all of which were densely packed with people. I was startled again. What's going on? Has the lighthouse really been hacked? Especially Pacific Base. Raleigh had just finished exercising with his brother, and then the 2 brothers were ready to rest. As mech hunters, the 2 of them are the best. Exercise should be done well, and rest should be well rested. After all, driving this supergiant mecha against monsters is a great test of strength and spirit. At this moment, a projection screen suddenly appeared in front of the 2 of them. Chapter 151. Ant-Man. Captain Kirk. Scott had just been released from prison and returned home when he suddenly found a projection screen in front of him. What's even more surprising is that he actually met Captain Alien and Iron Man, as well as members of the Avengers like Thor. The last time the Avengers defeated Shatora's fleet in outer space, the Avengers became famous and no one didn't know it. What's more, Iron Man has long been famous, and the Captain of the United States is his idol since childhood. He excitedly greeted Raw. "Hello, Captain, I'm Scott, and I'm a huge fan of you." Jane Grey is only 12 years old. However, she has been taken to her own country by Professor X. Her parents would like her to be taken away. After all, in the eyes of her parents, she's a freak. There was also a screencast in front of her, and she saw Magneto, Professor X, Beast and Wolverine above. Her eyes fell on Wolverine. "Uncle Logan, what's going on, Jim?" Kirk frowned when he saw the projection screen suddenly appeared in front of him. "Since joining the Commonwealth Academy, I haven't been drunk for a long time and fought people in bars. How can I still have such hallucinations?" "So it's not a hallucination. Who did some prank with yourself?" At this moment, many other portraits appeared on the screen beside the screen. Wonder Woman was dumbfounded when she saw a Jim Kirk 097. "Steve. Is that you, Steve?" She was out of control. The future Captain Kirk looked at Wonder Woman, then pointed to himself and smiled. "Beauty, are you wrong? But I don't mind getting to know you. My name is Jim Kirk." "Ah. You a student of the college, we can go have a drink after class. Saying this, he has already started to find where this device is placed and who is playing a prank with him. Although there is such a beautiful girl to prank him, he doesn't mind. Wonder Woman's expression suddenly collapsed and she closed her eyes. No, not Steve. Steve won't be so light. And Steve is dead. He's already dead. I saw it myself. So this is another he in a parallel universe. Then a look of disgust flooded into his heart. How could Steve in the parallel universe be so frivolous? She was slightly annoyed and received. I've got the wrong person. Sorry. Then let me explain to you. What's the situation, Kirk? Then listen to Wonder Woman's explanation. Everyone is in a parallel universe, and someone has cut your past and future into pieces, and made a strategy for it. Some strategies are very reliable, but some are not necessarily. Kirk didn't believe in such nonsense, but he found it interesting. However, at this moment, seeing him Thor, he was angry at this moment. Unspeakable anger. That is his own father who used their father's image to prank themselves. He swears that if he finds out who's behind the scenes, he'll beat him up until he doesn't even know him. Later, he saw Optimus Prime again, and when he saw Optimus Prime talking, the whole person suddenly felt bad. There is no such thing in the Star Alliance. Is this true? These things are already beyond his cognition. In the future, Ant-Man Scott naturally believed it directly. He didn't think people like the Captain of the United States and Iron Man would do these things to deceive himself. Is it necessary? Although these things in parallel universes are not very understandable, they will not lie to themselves. I will appear here. Maybe I will become a superhero like them in the future. At that time, Cassie would be proud of himself. But Zabing was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. After all, this is a world of spiritual cages, a world of doomsday. Although the technology is advanced, her daily job is to fight the polar beast, or beat the polar beast. There is no spiritual enjoyment here, and her imagination is still relatively lacking. This kind of thing is beyond her understanding, and the carefree Raleigh Beckett, the driver of the dangerous Wanderer, has seen giant monsters rise from the sea. The concept of parallel universes is easy to accept. As for whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. Let's have fun first. Then the old viewers started chatting, exchanging the changes in the world these days, exchanged some of their experiences after hearing that Optimus Prime had obtained the Source of Fire and defeated Megatron. They were all fortunate for the people in that world. Optimus Prime said, "Now, there are still some remaining Decepticons here. I'm now forming a coalition with humans, and are cleaning up these Decepticons with them. But human beings don't believe me at all. They don't believe that the Earth is the head of the Cosmic King. To be honest, I can't confirm it. There is no evidence. I don't dare to probe too deeply. I'm afraid that the Universe Emperor will be activated." Everyone was deeply concerned, and they remembered the unstoppable power of the Universe Emperor when he showed his complete body. They all understood Brothers Use's worries then. They heard Professor X talk about their success in founding a nation, beating Apocalypse. Although there are still a lot of troubles, but at least a good start. Hearing Wolverine using the amnestics was the key to winning against Apocalypse. Apocalypse, whose memory was temporarily erased by an amnestic, fell into a state of stagnation and was killed by Magneto. One can't help but admire Wolverine's wit. When Mr. J listened to this, everyone was in love. He never thought that the amnestic device could still be used in this way. If I had known earlier, wouldn't it be much easier to kill that disgusting big bug by giving it a flash? At this time, Jim Kirk thought that this thing might not be a prank made by some fool and himself. He felt that no one in the Commonwealth Academy had such a rich imagination and could make up these things well. Parallel universes, that's all for now. The same person as the father himself is actually the mythical Thor, who, according to them, is the same person in a parallel universe. In this world, Papa was only a captain for 12 minutes, but in another universe he became a god anyway. It's something to be happy about. After the chat was over, everyone saw the video this time. The last time Constantine's video that needed to be pre-ordered was no longer required to be pre-ordered. And this time there are 5 more walkthrough videos. Super. Dimension Raiders, Weiss Super Dimension Raiders, Scott Super Dimension Raiders, Raleigh Super Dimension Raiders, King Grey Hyperdimensional Raiders, Jim Cook. So who's to watch first? At this time, they being said, can you take a look at my strategy first? Life in her world is very difficult, and if there is any strategy to get them out of this predicament, she would love to know. Point for such a lovely girl's request. No one refused. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.